my real microphone.
There you go.
Okay, can we edit this later, or do we just have to do it perfect the first time?
No, I can edit this later in my video editing software or Audacity or whatever. Because it's going up on YouTube, so I'm just gonna put up a picture and maybe some footage.
I mean, that sounds good to
But
me.
yeah, so
So we call it
that's what.
Okie dokie panic. Okie dokie.
Yeah, Okie
Like
dokie
Mario
panic.
says.
And then I have a friend and she said that we should call this episode Nintendo Innuendo.
Innuendo.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, but it does sound like a fun episode name.
I mean, is it like innuendo? Is she mispronouncing that word?
I don't know. Yeah, innuendo. There you go.
Nintendo
I'm
innuendo.
pretty sure I'm the one mispronouncing the word.
Okay, because innuendo is not a word, but innuendo. I still don't see the connection, but it rhymes, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's about the only reason why it came up.
Oh, so I was gonna open by saying I'm just real bummed recently, Augustine. Or no, wait, we should introduce ourselves, shouldn't we?
Okay, so I'm Augustine, uh, the person who actually posts most of the videos on the channel for WildOnionChase. Yeah. All right, you go ahead and introduce yourself now.
I'm Connor, and I just bought the Switch NES controllers, and I just pre-ordered the Mario 3D All Stars game, which should tell you how much of a Nintendo fanboy I am.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, but honestly, I'm probably gonna buy that anniversary collection, even though I'm bitching about it all the time.
I know. I mean, I had to get it physical because it's limited. That's the thing. I'm even tempted by that Game and Watch.
Oh, it's just like a collector's piece.
Yeah, yeah, it's just a collector's piece. I was gonna say before, I'm just so bummed out because I just want to play Super Mario Brothers, but I don't want to have to look at my TV, and I don't want my hands to be comfortable. I want it to be really cramped, and I don't want it to last very long. I want it to just wear out all my battery, and thank God Nintendo took my needs into account and made the Super Mario Brothers Game and Watch.
That has a whole 3 games on it for
Yeah,
$50.
I don't
Look,
want to play more than 3 games on my device. Okay, that's too much choice. I'd be paralyzed.
okay, well, to be fair, in their press release, it did say something about like 35 little touches in quotation marks,
Little
little
touches.
touches, including being a digital clock. So, I mean,
Wait, does being
hopefully you're
in
getting.
watch count as a touch for Game and Watch?
I haven't the faintest idea. I
I
don't know
feel
if
like
that's like the
that's
hidden 36 no, function 36 or whether that's one of them. I'm unsure. They're not very clear.
when the Game and Watch Gallery came out on the Game Boy, they had to have notes everywhere that said this game does not tell time.
Really?
Yeah,
'Cause-
because they thought people would misunderstand Game and Watch.
No, see, I bought one of the Game and Watch galleries for the Wii U, and it was pretty fun. But that came with more games than this $50 Game and Watch.
It did, but I mean the games were less substantial. Like there's 32 levels of Super Mario Brothers, and I forget how many levels there are on Lost Levels because there's the secret worlds and there's World 9. Like there's a lot of levels in that game.
But how many of us have already completed Super Mario Brothers like 5, 7 times at
Well,
this
yeah,
point?
I have
Come on.
logged 42 hours on Super Mario Brothers on the Switch. I know because it keeps track.
Look, even people who don't like Super Mario Brothers have at least played the first few levels
True.
at this point.
I mean, there was a time when it was hard to get a hold of NES games, like in the late '90s, unless you bought like a used one. But then, like ever since the Virtual Console, it's been super easy. And I mean, even Game Boy Advance had some re-releases. And then there was the DX version of Super Mario Brothers on Game Boy Color, but that kind of sucked, honestly. Like at the time, it seemed really cool, but you go back and try and play it, and the screen crunch is unbearable.
Oh yeah, like on the Game Boy Color version of Super Mario Brothers DX, I think is what it
Yeah,
was called,
DX.
right?
They
You had
added
to
all sorts of.
scroll, right?
Yeah,
You had
yeah.
to
You had to hit
scroll
the
up.
select button.
That
You
was
couldn't see the whole
terrible.
screen. And it's like at the time it was so cool because I'd never played the game before, but now I've gotten too used to it as full screen. And it's kind of the same thing happens to me with Super Mario Advance because they don't have the resolution for an NES game on the Game Boy Advance, and you have to use the L and R buttons to scroll around.
Honestly, I obviously don't know the technical reasons for why it was like that, but it seems like laziness to me to not reformat the game to fit
Well,
on your, your screen.
when they released Super Mario Brothers for the Game Boy Advance, and it wasn't a Mario Advance title, it was just Super Mario Brothers NES Classic Series, they kind of just removed every other line of pixels. So if you look at that game, like the whole thing fits on the Game Boy Advance screen, but Mario is like missing body parts.
He's missing body parts. He's
Well, yeah,
missing
like
those
he's
vital. Well, I'm assuming they took out the non-vital pixels from his
well, like
sprite,
his
right?
nose is like less pixels, and his it's just it's weird. And the thing is, like in Super Mario Land, the Super Mario is pixel for pixel exactly the same as Small Mario in Super Mario Brothers. Like at a Game Boy screen size, like regular size Mario is Big Mario. And so many Game Boy developers didn't realize, even the people that made Super Mario Land 2 didn't realize that you can't just make NES size sprites on a Game Boy and expect the game to work.
Nah, honestly, sometimes I don't. I really don't get Nintendo. I mean, after the this year alone, they've made like how much? Like 400% profit or something
Yeah,
like
they've
that.
got 8 billion in the bank according to their report. 8 billion. And that's not like assets total, that's money in the bank apparently.
Yeah, just pure profit. Like that they don't. It's not like because sometimes people say, "Oh, well, you're worth this much," but they're talking about your property and stuff like that that you'd have to sell off.
Mhm.
But you're right, Nintendo. That's just how much they have.
Yeah, they
Like
are not cash poor.
if I had that much in my checking account, that'd be amazing.
I mean, it would be. It's controversial. It's very brave of you to say that you would like to have $8 billion, but I'm glad that somebody was willing to take the risk and
Somebody
announce to the
was
world.
brave enough to say, "I wish I had billions of dollars in my bank account."
Yeah. But
Oh
yeah, I mean,
no.
Nintendo is also so secretive. They don't tell you anything they're gonna do. Because I looked it up. The first rumor of the Mario remasters was in March, like late March, and they said nothing. They didn't even officially announce it until yesterday, and it's coming out in 2 weeks. So like, it must have been done way before then.
I'm sure. Although honestly, I don't even understand why they're so secretive about it. I mean, people were posting about it online on their blogs and shit for so long.
I
Like,
know,
is
like
it really that big? Is it really like this amazing secret that you're re-releasing like 7-year-old games?
7 years old. Is that whole Galaxy is? No,
No, no,
Galaxy.
that's Galaxy 2 is 10 years old, but it's not the one being re-released. It would
Yeah,
have been the 10th anniversary had they re-released back in
that might be what's
June,
going
right?
on. Maybe they're holding off for. Because did you notice in the Super Mario medley that they played, it just skipped over Galaxy 2?
Oh, it skipped over a few of them, I think. But yeah,
Yeah,
Galaxy 2 was like the big omission since most people who've played Galaxy and 2 agree that Galaxy 2 is a better game.
I
Even if they miss the hub, Galaxy 2 has better levels.
I genuinely don't remember if I beat Galaxy 2, and I don't want to go through the rigmarole of like setting up my Wii on an HD TV to figure out if I beat it or not. Like I think I did. I don't know.
No, but as far as the 7-year-old comment, I was more talking about Super Mario 3D World
Oh yeah, I mean it's
because
got Bowser's Fury.
yeah, that one's getting its own release, right?
Like, what a strange move. It's like we're really re-releasing a collection of 3D Mario games and also another 3D Mario game, but not in the collection.
You know what? I'm kind of shocked that they didn't just do a Super Mario All-Stars release on the eShop instead of putting it on
Oh
their
my
online.
gosh. I'm so
That
glad they
wouldn't have
put it on the
shocked me.
online.
No, I
I
mean
just
it's a good move on their part. Even though I still wish they actually sold their games on the eShop instead of just, like you're essentially renting them.
it's there's pros and cons. I kind of wish we had
Yeah,
both
there are.
options. Like we could rent and we could buy. They kind of have that with some of the Technos games. Like you can buy Double Dragon, the NES version, on the eShop, or you can just play it on Switch Online.
Now, see, this is what Microsoft does with their Xbox Game Pass. You pay for the Game Pass, right? Like
Hmm.
essentially like their Netflix option, right? Except
Hmm.
you actually download the games to your console, but you get discounts when you actually buy them on the digital shop.
I mean, that's smart, but Nintendo knows it doesn't have to do that. That's the thing.
Well, they don't have to do anything. They do whatever they want people buy
Yeah.
it at this point. Doesn't
That's the
matter.
nightmare, and I buy it. Like, I actually, the story for all of you listeners out there is I tried to buy the NES Switch controllers online, and it didn't go through, and I ended up having to call Nintendo and talk to customer service just for the right to spend $60 on the NES Switch controllers, which, like, I recognize they're useless and they are only good for playing NES games on the Switch, but they're still pretty cool, you know?
I mean, Nintendo cares so little about their customers that Connor here had to beg to buy overpriced NES controllers for the Switch.
Yeah, but once I got them,
That's
I mean, I
amazing.
played till like 3 a.m. on those things, you know? I never
Well,
had an
see,
NES as a kid.
at least you're getting something out of it, but still, they're overpriced in my opinion. Way
Way
way too
overpriced.
much.
Speaking of overpriced, can we talk about the
Wait,
$50
wait.
price tag?
How much did you pay again for them?
$60.
Oh my god, that's more than I paid for my Wii U Pro controller.
The Wii U Pro
I think I
controller was a
paid
waste of
40.
money though, because like I
Well,
never used
no,
that
but
damn
see,
thing.
I bought an adapter so I can even use it on PC and PS3.
I mean, it works with my PC, but the thing is, I can't charge it without plugging in my Wii U. I've tried just plugging that USB charger into a regular outlet, and it hasn't worked.
Oh, I haven't tried that, but yeah, it's still more expensive than what I paid for the Pro controller.
Well, you can
That's ridiculous. I know they're
see.
two controllers, but still.
Yeah, you can sync up the NES controllers with a PC or a Mac. They're Bluetooth, but I mean they've still only got two buttons, so the utility is questionable.
Okay, well, what was another notable thing that got announced? That Mario Kart Live Home Circuit thing.
Yeah, who has
There,
room to make an entire like kart racing track in their house?
I get it's fun for your children, like it's a little activity, you set it up, you're stuck at home, let's make a small track, but it's more of a novelty. I don't see people playing it more than once or twice.
What's interesting is apparently the game file is just a little over a gig, which is like, yeah, that's small. But like, what exactly is in it? Because it doesn't look like there's any graphics except for the models for the racers. Like, there's no track graphics. So are they
According
like
to
just?
this
Mhm.
article I'm looking at on CNN, it's going to release October 16th for 99.99 US dollars, and that gets you a card and gate. The game itself is free, but that's how much it costs to get the peripherals you need to
Wait,
actually
you
play
get
the darn
one
thing.
card, or do you get Mario and Luigi?
I don't know. I'll have to look into it. But
'Cause in the
still,
ad they had
that's a
Mario
lot
and
of
Luigi.
money for something you're probably going to play once or twice, honestly.
I mean, if you've got a giant house that you can set up a go kart track in, you probably won't miss that $100.
Oh no, it's probably like $10 to you or something.
It's like Nintendo prices are insane. Like $60 for Super Mario Brothers Wii U. When it was what, 8 years old at the time? No, it was only six, but still. And then $60 now for the 7-year-old game Super Mario
Now
3D
let's see.
World.
Mario Kart 8 came out in 2014, I think, and then it was re-released 3 years later.
Hmm.
So yeah, it wasn't at the time. When it was re-released in 2017, it wasn't that old, but
I
still, it
held
was
out
a
for the
Wii U
sale.
game.
I got it for $40 on March 10th because that was Mario Day.
No, I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Breath of the Wild were my first Switch games. I bought those in 2017, like in August or something. So a few months after the original release.
I held out until November because I wanted Mario Odyssey, and really that was the only thing that got me to get a Switch.
Oh no, I know you love Mario Odyssey. That's
Oh
probably
yeah,
why you're exactly the audience. Well, part of the audience that Nintendo wants to grab with these 3D All-Star releases,
I
just
know,
like
and I've
the
already
die-hard
pre-ordered
3D
it.
platforming Mario fans.
And it's like other 3D platformers I don't really like as much because I got Hat in Time. People are like, "Oh, it's even better." No, it's not. It's actually kind of bad. Maybe it's just
Well,
bad
I
on the
wouldn't
Switch.
I wouldn't say it's bad. I do think it's a little bit overrated, probably because I usually think of that game as a PC game.
Hmm.
So I'm assuming that it hit a crowd that doesn't usually play Mario games.
I mean, can
But
I
yeah,
use my disgusting metaphor?
sure, go ahead.
Okay, so think of 3D platform games as like water. Okay,
All right.
and your 3D platformer fan is in the middle of the desert. He's dying of thirst because there's no water anywhere. And then a Hat in Time comes up with like a big heaping cup of urine. and it's like, "Hey, I got
Okay,
this.
that's
It'll keep you alive." And then right after you finish drinking all that Hat in Time urine, Mario Odyssey comes by with like fresh spring water, and you're like, "Oh no, I didn't know that that was an option." And then Hat in Time comes back around again, and it's like, "Hey, you used to love my giant cup of urine. What's wrong?" And you say, "Well, now I've got Mario Odyssey, and it's water." So,
you really hate that in time if you just compared it to urine.
well, it's the same with ukulele.
Okay,
It's
maybe the original ukulele is like that game. If I'm using the full 1 to 10 scale and not the shitty like 7 means it's barely passable scale video game reviewers go with, I would give ukulele like a 5 out of 10. It's like totally average. The sequel is pretty good though. I think
well,
it
the sequel's
was
not a 3D platformer though.
no, it's not. No, it's not. So if we're just talking about 3D platformers, yes, ukulele is mediocre as hell.
Or
If we're talking
I
about the
think
series as a whole, it's actually decent. But
Mighty Number 9 might be a better use of that metaphor, where the water in this case should be Mega Man 11.
yeah, I can see that better because Hat in Time is not bad enough to be compared to Urine, in my
But my
opinion.
god, the loading times on Switch, and it's
Oh
so
no, but
janky.
look, we already talked about why it's that bad on Switch, right? That it's
It's
because they
16
didn't
gigs.
bother. Yeah, it's even bigger than the PC version, which
They
is
didn't even
shocking.
optimize it at all.
It's not optimized at all. They basically just took the so I don't even know why it took so long to port. If all they maybe they tried optimizing it and they just couldn't get it to work, and they just said, "You know what? Screw it. Let's just put what we have on PC, put it on Switch," and then it ends up being like how big was it on PC? Like
I
a
think it was
few
like
gigabytes, right? Like
4,
4, something
and
like that.
it's like 4
It's like
times as
4
big.
times as big.
It's
It's
nonsense.
horrible.
But I deleted it off my Switch. I'm like, I need to free up space. This is taking up
Mhm.
so much space, and I don't even like it.
You're
And
like you feel like your Switch was sullied with that terrible port. You're like,
and
I
now
wanna put Odyssey in here to clean it out.
Sunshine's coming, and that's what Hat in Time wanted to be so badly.
Just edit a photo of Mario like using what was the name of the pack in Sunshine?
Flood.
Yeah, Flood, using Flood to clean up Hat in Time's like horrible stink on
You
Switch.
wouldn't have been able to pass the Mario missions they have on the Mario 35th anniversary website because one of them was a trivia challenge, and one of the answers was Flood's name.
Was it multiple choice?
It was, and
Okay,
actually
I
all of the
probably could have gotten
choices
it.
were different acronyms that spelled out flood.
Wasn't it like FLUD or something?
FLUDD.
Okay.
Ultra dowsing device is the UDD, and I think F is like flash ultra dowsing device or something.
Okay, now my first experience with Super Mario Sunshine
Mhm.
was playing it at a McDonald's when they used to have GameCubes just
See,
installed.
I never saw that at a McDonald's. I remember they had Nintendo Wi-Fi set up for DSs, but I think the McDonald's in my town just never bothered with the systems.
Oh no, I remember the Wi-Fi thing because I'd read about it in like gaming magazines like EGM and Game Informer because it was a big deal at the time
Mhm.
since most households didn't have Wi-Fi back in the mid 2000s.
Yeah, and there was no like network wired option for a DS, I don't think. There was for the Wii, but you had to buy a special adapter.
No, I mean kids have it really good nowadays, honestly. Like they can just play whatever. You just download whatever game you want as long as your
Mhm.
parents are willing to pay for it and there are a ton of free games.
I remember waiting.
Back when we were younger, free games were like shitty flash games.
I know I had to pay for Sneak King at Burger King. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember. I actually own a copy. I've never played it. I think I
I
bought a
played it
copy
a
like
little bit.
2 years ago, and it was like $3 or something.
But like I remember waiting 45 minutes to get one race in Mario Kart DS, and it would be against only 3 other players, and then somebody would disconnect in the middle, and it'd be like, "You're out of luck. You got to do it again."
Or you could play single cart with other people locally, and it was just everyone was a shy guy except
The
for the
shy guy of
owner of the
shame. It's
yeah,
like
the
you're all
shy
shy
guy
guy.
of shame.
Put
The
on your
everyone is a
mask,
shy guy.
you peasant. Put on your mask and robe. You broke.
Donkey Kong is solely for the owner of the cart. Everyone else gets fucking shy guy.
Yeah. Oh, the mystery I just saw on Twitter in Donkey Kong 64. Cranky sees Donkey Kong and says, "Why, if it isn't my good for nothing son?" But in all the country games, he repeatedly refers to Donkey as his grandson.
Oh yeah, I remember that being like a controversial point. Is Donkey Kong like Donkey Kong Jr. grown up, or is he the grandson of Cranky Kong?
I mean, when you consider like the lifespan of gorillas, I don't think is all that different from the lifespan of people. Like Coco's been around for a couple decades now.
But Mario's been 24 since for like 35 years, according
He's
to
actually gotten
Nintendo.
younger because he was clearly an old man in some of the early games, like when he was
I
when he
wouldn't
was
say
Golf.
old, but I thought I've viewed him as like in his late 30s, early 40s, the way he
I
was
think it was
drawn.
Captain Rainbow. I think retconned the character from Golf, not from NES Open, but from Golf, to be like a different person, like an old man, and not Mario.
Why did they do that with Captain Rainbow game? Oh wait, did you ever play Captain Rainbow? I know it was
I never played it. I
never
just
in
know
America. Was it a
that
European release?
it might have been Japan only, but somebody made a translation anyway because people are aware of
I'm
it.
gonna look this up. Yeah, Japan only. So not even Europe got it.
So honestly, people could just be lying about what happens in Captain Rainbow. I have no way of knowing.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like that's the case for a lot of Japan only like video games.
Uh,
Especially back in like the 90s and the 2000s where people just really didn't know. You could spread lies online or spread a rumor and people would just take it at face value because they don't understand Japanese.
Honestly, I'm still not clear about Vivian from Thousand Year Door because apparently they use different pronouns to refer to her in different scenes, and sometimes it's supposed to be an insult, and it's just not clear. But people take that to mean that she was a male character in Japan. And then the latest gossip is that she was actually a trans character. And honestly, from the evidence I've seen, I don't think it's possible to make any sort of call. I think maybe they just forgot what pronouns to use partway through writing the dialogue.
Yeah, writing back in the day for video games, I mean even now, like it doesn't really matter to the developers all that often unless you're
Especially the
doing
latest
something
game.
like yeah, like if you're doing The Last of Us Part 2, yeah, you're writing like you care about your script,
Yeah,
right?
it's like
But you're
Schindler's
doing
List. Haven't you heard?
okay. I actually had a professor who told me that he hated Schindler's List because he thought that it was like really just playing on people's emotions. Like it wasn't sincere. And I haven't watched Schindler's List in like 10 years, so I would have to rewatch that film to decide
When I
if
watched it, I had to take the DVD out partway through and flip it over, which should tell you how long ago I watched that movie.
oh yeah, I remember watching Titanic on VHS. I don't remember how many tapes that came on, but I
I
remember having to switch it out
I
because
think it
it
was
was
just
so
two because Sound of
long.
Music was two tapes also. Like then they had the dual layer discs, which was the big innovation. You didn't have to flip it over anymore.
Well, off topic, but isn't it amazing that Steven Spielberg went from Schindler's List to Ready Player One?
Well, even that same year, he produced the Flintstones.
I mean, say what you will about Steven Spielberg, but that man can make basically any movie.
It's true. It's true. I mean, he's got range. He is also responsible for PG-13 being a thing. And cycling back to Mario, did you notice that it said RP to T on the Mario 35th anniversary direct?
No, I did not.
It took me forever to realize it's because they mentioned the Smash Spirits um, being part of the 35th anniversary, and Smash Ultimate is rated T. So that's our T.
Wait, is it T?
Yeah, it's T.
I'm looking this up.
Well, now I'm doubting myself because now I don't know what the T is
I thought
for.
it was E10.
Well, weirdly, Mario Odyssey is E10.
In Europe, it's 12.
Mario Odyssey is 12.
No, no, Smash.
Oh, no, you're right. It's E10. So what the
Yeah,
hell is
it's just
T?
E10. Like I remember the last that Melee was T because E10 wasn't the thing at the time.
So
But
what could
yeah,
this?
Smash is E10.
What's T in the whole list of things on the 35th anniversary? It's definitely not any Mario game. It's not Smash. What else do they even mention?
I mean, Is it possibly Super Mario Brothers 35? No, I don't even see that being a possibility because I don't
Well,
even
that
know if
was
there's voice
RP
chat.
'cause I looked that up. And, weirdly enough, when I pre-ordered from Best Buy Mario 3D All-Stars, it said RP in the listing, but then they had a picture of it with, E on the box. So maybe
Well,
they do mock-ups of the boxes before they've actually gotten word back.
oh no, I'm sure that's what they do, but I don't see I don't see 3D All Stars being teen. None of those games were teen back in the day, and I don't
Yeah.
see them having any content that would result in a teen.
I mean, I have no idea what could possibly be teen now that I know that it's not Smash. Like, what was even in that video? Let
Yeah,
me
hard
take
to
a
say.
look. But yeah, I mean the price point though. Can we talk about how it's $50 for the Game and Watch?
Look, I bought a TurboGrafx Mini back in May when that released.
Mhm.
That was 100 for 50 plus unique games. Yeah, they had repeats because you had the Japanese and the American side, like the Western releases. But even so, it out of 58, like 52 of them were unique games.
Were there any Turbo Duo games on there?
There might have been. I didn't really pay attention too much, but that was a great re-release. Like I have a ton of content. There are a ton of games I haven't even played from that system that I want to go and try. Game and
I
Watch is $50, is half that price, and it only has two games that,
Yeah, because like Ball
aren't
is not a
super
game.
long.
Like,
Yeah,
let's be real.
that's like a game you played like back in the 90s on your cell phone if your mom or dad had one or if you were
I mean,
old enough to own one.
depending on how you play it, Lost Levels can be a pretty long game because you have to beat it 8 times in a row to get to the secret worlds.
I get that, but it's still Super Mario Brothers. It's like they made some changes to it, but it's still just Super Mario Brothers.
I mean, yeah, it's got red piranha plants. Everyone likes those, and it's like, could Mario Kart World be rated T? That doesn't seem possible.
I don't think so, unless there's
What is
something
rated
I
T?
don't remember, but
Oh, I want to talk to you about the missions. Okay, the missions on the anniversary website, and you have to do them all in order to get your collector's edition Mario pins, right? So one of them is like print out a picture, well, not print, download a picture of your favorite Mario game. Okay, you do a trivia quiz. The very last mission, the only one that's required to get the pins, you have to do any 5 missions, including this one, is buy Super Mario 3D All Stars. That's your mission that you have to do for the Mario 35th
give
anniversary.
us your money,
Yeah, and then once you register it,
basically.
you can put in to get the pins, but supplies are limited. So I know people who buy it on the eShop are probably gonna get those pins first. I don't know. I don't know how I can live without my limited Mario pins.
Well, when I bought Persona Q2 for the 3DS, they just gave me pins. I didn't have to go and do any missions to get them.
That's the thing.
So,
Atlas has some respect for your time. Like they announced their game like years in advance. They didn't announce it 2 weeks before it came out.
well, see, I feel like they announced their games too early. Like Persona 5 got announced in 2013. It didn't come out until 3 years later in Japan. Actually, I think it might have been announced even earlier than that with like a teaser image. So you know what? Say what you will about Bethesda, but usually they'll announce a game 6 months before release, which I feel is enough time to generate hype without making people feel like, wow, this game is just being delayed constantly.
I mean, that is a point. Although Oblivion like fried my computer when I was a kid. So
Oh,
I've still got feelings about Bethesda. Now, granted, it was partly because I was like 14 years old and modding a computer like I knew what I was doing. So,
I remember you mentioning that. Gonna look up a little bit more about the 35th anniversary. I still think it's a huge shame that Galaxy 2 is not getting that 10th anniversary re-release.
yeah, I would really want to replay Galaxy 2. Like, I barely remember that one because it came out when I was in college. I didn't have as much time to spend playing video games.
I mean, I could whip out my Wii U right now from under my bed. Not my Wii U, my Wii, and just play that, right? But
I
I
mean,
would like to see an HD re-release.
I don't even know where all the cables from my Wii are. Like, it's a nightmare setting that thing up on an HD TV.
That's why I bought an adapter so I could just play through HDMI.
Oh, that's smart. How much was
And the
that?
adapter was only like $10.
Oh, that's smart. I should
Yeah,
probably look
you
into
can
that.
get them on eBay. You can get them, yeah, any
Oh,
site that
speaking of
sells stuff.
converting Wii games to HD, how about how they're not even doing widescreen for Mario 64?
Okay, this is one of the big things that that irks me about this, right? Because Nintendo got rid of that fan game that got released a few months ago. Because obviously because, they like protecting their intellectual property.
Right.
But that version had widescreen support, it had 4K, it ran at 60 frames per second, maybe more than that. And you're telling me that they couldn't even do like widescreen for their official $50 re-release? Like, come on.
Did you ever see Godfather 2?
Yes, I own the Blu-ray.
I'm going somewhere with this. I am. Do you remember the part where they're in Cuba and like the revolution is happening?
Yes.
And Michael Corleone is like, I just realized the rebels aren't getting paid, but the
Oh,
Cuban
you mean
army
when
is.
they're at the birthday party and they're
Yeah,
cutting the
yeah.
cake? Yeah, and he's
So
like, I think they have a good chance of winning because of that."
yeah, now that's fan developers versus official Nintendo developers. Official Nintendo developers are like, I'll just, slap it in. I'm not even going to change the aspect ratio. They'll buy it anyway. And fan developers are like, they're devoting all their time and effort, and they're not even seeing any reward for this.
No, see, I think I'm going to give the developers and the actual like people, individuals working at Nintendo some credit. I don't think it's necessarily laziness. I think it's deadlines, and I think it's also budget. Because I'm sure they get paid well, right? Like
I mean,
the
I hope
developers at
so.
Nintendo. I'm hoping they do.
They said that like the median, but then like Miyamoto makes, I want to say, like 3 million.
Hmm.
So it's like, and they say, oh well, that's actually a relatively low salary for such a high ranking corporate executive. And it's like, okay, well, sign me up for $3 million.
Mm. Well, I don't know. I haven't really looked into the what Miyamoto gets paid, but back to what I was saying about the individual developers. I think it's just time constraints because obviously with a fan game, some of these people spend years developing these games.
Oh yeah, I mean it's not
Making
unusual for them to go 10 years. Like look at Streets of Rage. They were
Mhm.
working on the Streets of Rage remake for 10 years, and then in 2009, I think it was, Sega shut it the fuck down. Wait, am I allowed to swear on the podcast?
Yeah, I just I was
Oh no.
swearing like four times by
Well,
now.
I didn't
I
ask if
think
you
I
were
said
allowed to
something.
swear, but Sega
Oh no,
shut
of
it
course
down
you can
because they
swear.
had a
I don't have a big enough audience to be monetized anyway. So
that's true.
YouTube can't do shit,
But they
honestly.
had a shitty iPhone port coming out of Streets of Rage 1, and they shut down the 8 to 10 years in development Streets of Rage remake over that. And it's like the metaphor I heard is that if you got a puppy and you love it to death, and a man walks up and he shoots your puppy in the head, and then he gives you a new puppy. Like maybe there's nothing wrong with that new puppy, but you're not going to get over the fact the man who
They
gave you
fucking
this new
murdered
puppy
your
killed you.
puppy.
Yeah. And that's what it's like when the company comes in, like when they show up with Metroid 2 Samus Returns on the 3DS.
Hmm.
It's like,
Af
this is nice, but another Metroid 2 remake died for this.
and that was like what, 10 years in the making? Something
Yeah.
like that. Because I remember knowing about it since like 2007, 2006.
It's
I
the
was
same
following that guy for years.
as Streets of Rage remake. It's the same deal. Like you watch somebody work on this thing for a decade, and then they finally come out with it, and then they get slapped down. And like Sega, they're acting like they're all cool now, because they hired Christian Whitehead to do Sonic Mania. But it's like I'm not gonna forget what they did back in the mid 2000s.
Well, back to another Metroid 2 remake.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I do think that that was a bit better than the official remake that ended up coming out. I still really enjoy the 3DS remake, right?
yeah.
But another Metroid 2 remake was exactly what I wanted, where it was still a 2D Metroid game, and it's
The
just
pixel
gone.
art.
Yeah, with the pixel art, yeah. That was a great version of Metroid 2, because let's be honest, Metroid 2 on Game Boy, it has a good atmosphere and everything, but the game itself isn't that fun to play anymore.
What was the last pixel game Nintendo even made? Because when they do 2D platformers, it's usually 3D models these days.
I have no idea.
I mean,
You
even
know
in
what
the
else we know what pixel game needs a sequel or a
what?
re-release? Drill Dozer. Even though that was I think Nintendo published, but they didn't develop it. I think that was Game Freak, and Game Freak isn't owned by Nintendo. They should do a sequel.
I was gonna say, didn't they do that? But that was Mr. Driller that I'm thinking of.
Oh no, Mr. Driller is a Namco property.
Yeah,
That's a whole
'cause
nother
he's Dig
series.
Dug's son.
Yeah, and then the son of a like a sci-fi soldier from some arcade game I never played.
Yeah, well, I mean, that game beats Metroid with a female protagonist to the punch by like a couple months, maybe a year,
I thought it was a year or two.
maybe a
Something
year or
like
two.
that.
But
It's
yeah,
still
it was the
impressive.
first female protagonist space. Like you wouldn't think that would be that broad of a category, but it is, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, Samus is much more well known. Even among Nintendo, she's not like super well known. I feel like more people know about Metroid than have actually played Metroid games.
I mean, it's kind of like Earthbound, where it was Smash Brothers that got people to even really know what it was.
Yeah, same with Fire Emblem, because
Yeah.
Fire Emblem got introduced to the West with the playable characters like Roy and Marth. I mean, those
But like
games, the
Fire Emblem
first
has an
release was
excuse.
GBA.
Because like Fire Emblem never came out in America, so it wasn't like it came out and it sold badly. Whereas like
Oh yeah,
Earthbound,
I see what you're saying. Yeah, Earthbound came out and was just a failure for the most
yeah.
part.
I mean, I liked Earthbound. I didn't get around to playing it until during the pandemic when I had a lot of free time, but it was a really good time. Mother 3, mm, I'm not as big on Mother 3.
Oh yeah, you played that recently, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it just like the ending is kind of like a fuck you to Earthbound fans.
I disagree. I mean, I'm just gonna put up spoiler warning for Mother 3 if you never played that. But I don't really go with the interpretation that like everybody died. I mean, what was your interpretation of that ending?
Oh, I'm sure they all lived out their lives because Porky was traveling through time. I mean, they're probably dead because they, just of old age. But or do you mean from the Dragon Awakening?
I mean, from the Dragon Awakening.
Oh yeah, no, I think the Earth was renewed because it was Lucas was the one that pulled the pin, right? He pulled more pins. So
Hmm.
so the dragon is good.
Yeah, so I don't really see it as a fuck you. It's the same thing with another spoiler warning for a weird RPG video game for Moon, which just recently got re-released on Nintendo Switch in
Mhm.
America. Localized by Tim Rogers, who I love that guy's work when he was on Kotaku and when he was developing stuff like Video Ball. And now he's doing like 3-hour reviews of The Last of Us and Fantasy VII Remake.
Is he
Um,
positive or negative in his 3-hour reviews?
he's very thorough on the positives and the negatives of these games.
I feel like you could probably get through the remake in like 3 hours.
Of Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah, isn't it only like the first third of the game?
Yeah, but it's like 3 times as long as the original game.
Really?
They added so much filler to that. Like it's a 60-hour game that only adapts like the first 6 hours of the game.
I'm completely in the dark on Final Fantasy.
It's they completely expanded it. Like if they follow through with the sequels of equal of the next two or three of equal length, you're looking at like a 200-hour video game, like as a
Very long
whole.
game.
Yeah, it's pretty huge. But back to Moon, that
Moon.
game also ends with the destruction of the world. But I already told you about the ending. And you said it just seemed like a big fuck you, right?
Yeah, fuck you for playing my. I'm gonna do the Mario. Fuck so much for to play my game.
No, I completely disagree on that point because if out of context, yeah, it seems like a fuck you, right? Like if you haven't played the game. But if you actually play the game, it's pretty sincere with what it's going with. And also the characters did survive despite dying because they're just video game characters. They become real in the credit sequence. So they're much happier in the real world compared to their shitty video game world. So I see that as a win overall.
See it
But
as an absolute win. But the problem I had with Mother 3 wasn't so much the destructive ending, it was that Porky is basically supposed to represent the bad Earthbound fan who just wants Earthbound again. And he has that whole museum with all the Earthbound stuff in it, and he just wants his friend Ness back,
I
and he's
mean,
just
does
like,
it? Is it meant to represent the fans, or is that just supposed to be saying something about Porky himself?
Don't know. I think it is meant to represent the fans. Maybe that says more about me that I took it as a personal insult. But
Because I didn't take it as a personal affront. I could see it being interpreted as maybe as poking fun at fans who just want that, but I don't really see it as mean spirited because it's in character for that for Porky to be a douchebag. Because
thing where it's like
yeah, he's just that
e-
kind of person.
everyone erased their memories and leader is the keeper of all the memories, and it's like, oh, okay, what does that have to do with anything? Nothing really. Like that whole scene could have been cut out from the game and really nothing would change. Like it didn't really matter where these people came from or that they weren't really who they thought they were because like it didn't affect anything.
Well, you know what I would love if we never get an official release of the 2D version of Mother 3, I want a remake done in the style of Link's Awakening.
Oh, that Mother art book was like a really mean prank because it had like a 3D picture with like a 2D nest and a 3D world, and I thought like, are they making Paper Mother? And no, they're just releasing an art book with like weird mock-ups of games that aren't ever gonna come out.
You know what? Paper version of Mother would be good too. I wouldn't mind that, like a
Yeah,
Paper Mario like.
I know.
But I like the 3D models that they were originally gonna go with in the N64 version
Yeah,
that
I'm
never came to
amazed at
be.
how similar it was because like you can see in the trailers that they made scenes that ended up in the GBA game.
But see, I view that as the guy who actually wrote created the games. Like he just had a really strong vision that he stuck to for all those years.
What
I'm
is the
impressed with that.
what is the princess's name? Kumatori?
I don't remember.
Because like she has like a sexier outfit in the N64 version.
Wait, what was she wearing?
Oh, it was just like she had a belly shirt or something. I'm gonna look up what her name was. I'll see if I can find you the picture. Do
All right.
Kumatori? Was that it?
Take your time. I'll just anything that any like slow periods in our recording, I'll just take out. The
That
magic
works.
of post production. It'll seem like you Googled it in like 10 seconds and you got the info.
Princess Mother 3. What was her name? Kumatora.
Oh, you know what though? You know how they are doing a limited 3D All Stars release, right? Like it's the fucking Disney Vault or some shit
Yeah,
like
and
that.
even digital, it's limited.
I know, which is so fucking strange, right? Like I get maybe the physical being limited as like, maybe we'll do individual releases later, but taking it off the eShop? Same thing with Super Mario Brothers 35 or whatever the hell that's called. That's going to be a Switch Online exclusive till March and then they're removing it.
Yeah, it's just gone forever, and it's not like I don't think you can even play it anymore. At least Mario All Stars, you can play it. You just
And
can't
I
buy
think
it.
you can re-download it if you bought it, but you just can't buy it. If you're a new Switch owner, you can't buy it. I mean, it also sucks for like people um who don't own a Switch right now because of the production
Yeah,
shortage.
they're not gonna be able to get one in time.
Yeah, like they're gonna have to buy if they want it, like they'll have to pay for it online, like make an account and buy something they're not gonna play for like a year, maybe less. Who knows?
I mean, it's
I
like
don't
I
know.
was
That
saying
seems shitty.
before. It's because the fiscal year ends in at the end of March, so I think Nintendo wants to beef up their sales numbers for this year. I mean, that doesn't
Oh
really
no,
make
no
sense for
doubt.
Mario 35 because that's free, but
Yeah, I don't doubt that there's a financial incentive for them to look better. I mean, which is I mean, they've been so successful this year. I'm like, why do that? But you know how it is. Like they always want more and more and more. That's how it is with companies.
oh
I
yeah.
don't really blame that line of thinking, because hey, why wouldn't you want to be more successful, as a company? But still, I don't know, just seems shitty
Yeah,
and short-sighted.
I know you burn up all your goodwill,
Yeah.
and then what do
Though
we
I
got
mean,
left?
come on, we talk trash about Nintendo, but we're still buying this shit. So,
Yeah, but I mean, people like us are few and far between. They realized that when they came out with the Wii U, like they thought they had people forever, and they did not.
oh, the Wii U had so many bad things. had so much going against it. One, people didn't even know it was like your average consumer, like customer, didn't know it was a new Wii, like a Wii 2. They thought it was like an expanded version of what they already own. And then you look at like how we were talking about a while ago about parents, like they just don't
Yeah,
know.
the clueless parents, parents like
Yeah,
Will
that
Smith,
plenty of parents don't care about video games.
parents just don't understand, and it's like they just assume any game will work on. That's why plug and plays were such a big thing in the mid 2000s because parents were just like, I don't want to get a game and then my kid can't play it, so they just get the plug and play.
Yep.
And it's like my grandpa, he got me a PlayStation game once, and it's like, thanks, grandpa, but I don't have a PlayStation. And it's just like video game is video game. That's why they used to call just all game systems Nintendos for a while.
Yeah, now it's expanded to Xbox or PlayStation. I feel like people don't just say Nintendo anymore. Now they're like, oh, let Timmy play on the Xbox or the PlayStation. But it comes out to the same thing. They don't really know what it is.
And then like the fact that some games work on the Switch Lite and some games don't, like a lot of kids are going to be upset by that because parents are not going to know what's what and they're going to get mad. Oh, I sent you the picture by the way of Kumatora and I guess Lucas.
All right, let me look this up on my phone. Let's see. Yeah, that's definitely more risque.
Yeah, and like she didn't look like that through all of development because sometimes she looks pretty much the same. So I think they went through iterations, but it looks like a fairly similar game. It's got all the characters at least semi-recognizable. Although like Lucas and his brother, whose name escapes me, actually like spend time together instead of the brother just disappearing at the beginning.
You know how I know that this 35-year anniversary 3D All-Star thing is just like the laziest way to do it?
How do you know?
Because they advertise that the games are in widescreen, right? Like it's this huge thing. But Mario 64 isn't in widescreen, and the two games that are in widescreen already had it as an option.
Man,
Like it was built in, so they didn't have to add anything.
I mean, it's disappointing. I remember setting up my Wii to do widescreen. That was fun. I had a very big TV in the mid 2000s.
Yeah, also, as far as people not being able to play Galaxy on their Switch Lite, I did read in a follow-up that there might be an alternate control scheme for handheld.
Yeah, they said the touchscreen to do the pointer.
Yeah,
Could
but
you
in the
imagine?
their official release though, it says that it's not available. So I guess it's one of those things where we'll find out when the game comes out.
Well, like, could you imagine? Could you imagine? Because you remember Kid Icarus Uprising, how you were supposed to use the touchscreen at the same time as controlling the game?
Yeah, and it came with a stand.
Yeah, because they had to admit, like, no, you can't. Like, that's the rule. If your thing comes with a stand, it's not good because the Virtual Boy also came with a stand.
Well, having played Kid Icarus Uprising, for me at least, it does hurt my hand after playing a bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the game that they
Yeah.
should re-release on the Switch.
Yeah, you
Like
could fix that game so easily with
two
just
thumbsticks.
allowing either Joy-Con or the second analog stick. And it's
Yeah,
still a good game. Just release a deluxe version.
I mean,
For a
it's
lot
a
of
good.
people, it'll basically be a new game.
Yeah, I mean, I
A
didn't
lot of
play it. I know it was the big 3DS game, but I didn't want to, give myself carpal
I
tunnel.
I think it did sell over 1 million copies, but still, you compare that to the entire and it came out early in the lifespan of the 3DS and the install base wasn't that big at the time.
Mhm.
Most people who own a 3DS never played Kid Icarus Uprising.
Well, it's just like, okay, this thing with Pikmin, right?
Oh yeah, the deluxe version coming
Have
out in
they
October.
taken Super Mario 3D World off of the Wii U eShop yet?
Honestly, it wouldn't shock me if they did because they already took Pikmin 3 off the Wii
I
U
know, and
eShop.
that's nuts to me because you consider the Wii U in its entire lifetime sold 13 million units, right?
Mm-hmm.
And out of all those people, the ones who like Pikmin probably got Pikmin 3. And then there's literally more than 4 times as many people with Switches. Like how big of a chunk of your sales would really be eaten up by people buying it on the eShop?
I don't see that being eaten like basically at all because who's gonna go and buy a Wii U just to buy the $20 version of Pikmin
Yeah.
3?
It's like, I'd be stupid not to do it. I'm saving so much money. Just $100 for the Wii U. Is that what it goes for now, or can you get it
And
cheaper?
come on, like if somebody bought a Wii U Nintendo, even pre-owned, and they buy your eShop version for $20, I mean, come on, they at least they're dedicated, right? Like they fucking own a Wii U.
Yeah.
Most people don't own a Wii U.
I mean, my Wii U came with Mario 3D World. It was
I
like
think I
kind of
bought my Wii U pre-owned from GameStop, but I got it with Bayonetta 2.
cool.
But now that's on Switch and it's better on Switch, so oh well.
Yeah.
It is what
Bayonetta
it is.
2 is in like that Ninja Gaiden school of video game storytelling, and I'm all for it.
Actually, I want somebody to make a video. Maybe I could make a video comparing which of the character action titles has a better story, you know? Like Bayonetta 2 versus Ninja Gaiden Black versus Devil May Cry 3. Actually, out of those three, I'm just gonna straight up say Devil May Cry 3 has the best story. Because at least it's like dumb action movie stuff, but they did some good character work between Dante and Virgil and Lady. And then the other two games, like I honestly just skip the cutscenes as often as I can.
I know that
Have
if
you
you get
played?
them, I haven't played any Devil May Cries. I do know the cutscenes are stuck at 4.3 forever if you get the old ones, even if it's the HD re-release.
Even the Devil May Cry 3 Switch re-release?
I don't know. Maybe not, but they pre-rendered a lot of the cutscenes, so they're stuck the way
Oh,
they
that's
were.
true. I mean, I don't mind 4.3,
Yeah,
and
4.3 is fine.
and for just like a basic remaster, I don't really expect them to go back and pre-render everything
Yeah.
to recreate them. It's fine, whatever. I wouldn't mind a full-on remake of Devil May Cry 3 with Devil May Cry 5's gameplay, but whatever. Fine.
Whatever, indeed. I mean, I've never played any of the Devil May Cries. I did play Resident Evil 4, speaking of Capcom, and that was a dumb action movie story that I think was amazing.
It might be one of the dumbest plots in any Resident Evil game, actually. Like okay, so Resident Evil is Nintendo because this is the Nintendo episode mainly, right?
Right. I mean,
Resident Evil
Resident Evil
4
4,
originated on Nintendo on a Nintendo
it was
console
this
on the GameCube.
GameCube exclusive. It was one
You
of the
can play it on
Capcom
the
5.
Wii. You could buy the eShop version on the Wii U. You could buy it on Switch. So Nintendo, a game that's on basically everything at this point, but it has a long history with Nintendo's consoles, right? So that game, the whole plot hinges on the idea that they're going to infect the president's daughter with a parasite and then send her back to the White House where she's going to infect the, White House personnel with the parasite, right?
Right.
But wouldn't they do like a medical examination on her and find like do like x-rays and shit? Because earlier in the game, they do like an x-ray or something on her and you can see that there's like a weird creepy parasite thing. Like, come on. Like, she gets kidnapped by a weird cult and they're not going to do a medical examination on her to make sure she's fine.
I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong. This makes perfect logical sense, but you've picked the strangest place to find fault with this story.
No, there is a lot of fault, but just the basic crux of the story is they kidnap the president's daughter
And
because
it's
their
up to her.
plan is to infect her and do all this shit. So I'm saying even that plan makes no sense, which means there would have been no reason to kidnap the president's daughter.
I mean, you have a point. You
They
have a
could have
point.
it could have just been a plot where they hold her hostage and they tell the White House. But I actually don't think they told anybody that she was being held hostage. I think it's just that the White House ended up, they knew she got kidnapped and they found out she may be somewhere in Spain. And that is the crux of the plot. Then a bunch of other stupid things happen, but well, it's like 80s action movie schlock, so whatever.
Yeah. Oh, hey, can we pause for a second so I can go do something that I don't want to say on recording?
Oh, that's fine. You can also just mute yourself.
Oh, yeah. How
And
do I
I'll
do
cut
that?
this out. You just go to the microphone at the bottom. Yeah, I'll cut this out of the recording.
I'm back.
Okay, so while you were gone,
Yeah.
from doing whatever you didn't want to say on recording, which is fine, um, I went to the Best Buy site and I thought these re-release. I don't know why, but in my head, I thought the re-release was $50. It's
Oh no, it is 60,
$60.
my friend. And I had with
Twenty
taxes it
dollars per game.
now somebody said you got to think of it as $10 for Mario 64 and 25 for Sunshine and Galaxy.
Okay, well, I'm not going to because it's a nice, you know, three three games, right? You divide that by 60, $20 each. I'm not gonna go with any of this bullshit. 25 for Sunshine, 10 for Super Mario. Like, come on. Like, and also Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury is $60?
Well, you think of it as $5 for Super Mario 3D World and $55 for Bowser's Fury.
Then it's perfectly fine. Okay, come
I
on,
wish we
like
knew more about Bowser's Fury. Is it going to be like Bowser's Minions, or what's the deal there?
I don't know. But regardless, this is way too much for a re-release of a 7-year-old Wii U game. I don't care if it's 1080p. Like, come on.
I mean, even when it was new, it was $50.
Was it
Like,
$50 on
yeah, because
release? I
Tropical
paid
Freeze
20
was
for it.
50, and
Oh
like
man, I
Tropical
paid I
Freeze,
paid 20 for the Wii U version of Tropical Freeze. And come on, Pikmin 3 is also $60. Like, come on, Nintendo. I might be okay with 40, because you did have to port it to a new system and it's a supposedly a better version, but come on, 60?
because they know people will pay it. Like Nintendo doesn't have to do discounts. Like you look at Steam. Steam is like, all the games are 50 cents for one day only. Like Steam is desperate to unload their games. Nintendo is just like, we might release a game if we feel like it.
Is Nintendo even coming out with any actual new games this year?
I think this is it for the holiday. And like this was like
This is
supposed to
these are their
happen a
big
lot earlier.
titles.
Yeah,
These are
this was
their
supposed
big
to be their
titles.
their E3 announcement was supposed to be the Mario anniversary, and then Nintendo World was going to open, and it was going to be this whole Mario themed year.
But no actual new Switch games of note.
Not that I know of. They have nothing for the holiday right now. And there was a rumor that it was going to be Breath of the Wild, but
Oh no, Breath of the Wild, I don't see that releasing till minimum 2021, like late 2021.
and then did you see that there was a job posting at Retro in Texas for a lead producer on Prime 4?
No, I
So
didn't look
apparently,
into that, but that sounds
okay.
like bullshit to me as far as like how long has that game been in development for? They
And
had
they
to
just haven't
restart
had a
development.
producer.
For how long have they not had a producer?
And apparently Kensuke Tanabe is getting involved, which is like I love Super Mario Brothers 2. I mean, we even named the podcast after it. But like his work on the Paper Mario games has been less than inspiring.
Yeah, it has not inspired much confidence.
And he did work on the old Prime games. So I'm like, what happened to that Kensuke Tanabe? What happened to that guy? The one that made good games. I mean, granted, I did like Origami King. I can't get too mad, but like Sticker Star and Color Splash were just like a 1-2 punch to my face.
I don't think Color Splash was as bad as people say it was, but
I
Sticker
got a
Star is
headache
really
playing
bad.
Color Splash. Got to the very beginning part where it's like, why don't you find all the toads? And I was just like, I don't want to find all the toads. And it said you can't progress unless you find all the toads. And then I just took the game and I put it away and I never played it again.
Yeah, I don't see what the issue is with Nintendo and being unable to just allow them to write in new characters.
How can Ring Fit Adventure have turn-based combat like it ain't no thing? And then God, and then Sticker Star, Color Splash have to have that weird sticker card nonsense.
I don't know. I mean, people loved. I mean, Super Paper Mario was fun, but that was when the series made a turn, right, into just
Oh,
not being Paper Mario
I just
anymore.
wanted Thousand Year Door again, and they're like, "Well, we can't do the same thing again." And then they also released like four of the exact same game with New Super Mario Brothers.
And then their big 2020 release is 3D All Stars, which is just an up-resed version of three old games,
Um, I mean,
with the
honestly, put
newest one being 13 years old.
put Paper Mario 64 on there. Come on, you cowards.
Put Paper Mario 64 and put Thousand Year Door on the Switch.
Yeah, the
Just do that.
Paper Mario All Stars. Put
Sure,
Super
why
Paper
not?
Mario on there too. Although
Yeah,
apparently
there you go.
every time there's an interview, they say there was a Club Nintendo survey where like nobody liked the story. Like I didn't take a Club Nintendo survey, But apparently people said they didn't like the story in Super Paper Mario in a Club Nintendo survey, and that's what they're basing all of their Paper Mario decisions on.
But how many people actually participated in
I
that?
think like 6? I don't know. It wasn't a
And
lot.
they're basing it off like basically not actually any real data. You might as well get 5 people off the street and ask them, "Yo, so you want a new Paper Mario game?" And like 5 of them will be like, "What's Paper Mario? Does that
Thing
have
is,
something
like,
to do with Mario? Like what?"
I bought my 3DS because I wanted to play Sticker Star. Like, that was the level I was hyped for Sticker Star, and it was not worth the hype. Sticker Star was
Wait,
just
did Sticker Star have any hype at the time?
had hype from me. It was the first new Paper Mario game in gosh, Super Paper Mario was 2007,
2007, yeah.
and then like 2004 was the last turn-based Paper Mario. And it's like, oh, it's going to be a return to classic Paper Mario. Oh, how little I knew. And it was depressing. Like every system I buy, I'm realizing is for a Mario game. Like I wanted Sticker Star, I wanted Mario Odyssey, and then the Wii U was Mario 3D World.
Oh, you don't like 3D World all that much, right?
I like it. Honestly, I think that 3D Land is one of my all-time favorites. And 3D World is just kind of more of the same, but like I 100% in 3D Land and I didn't feel the need to 100% 3D World.
My main issue with 3D World is that it's clearly meant for, like 4 players
Yeah.
because the worlds are so big if you're playing one player.
And the thing is, there was a lot of stuff they did in 3D Land that they didn't do in 3D World. Like in 3D Land, there were no points, there was only coins. And like that makes so much sense. Like that way you actually have a purpose for the coins because they're your points. And like, it's kind of two extraneous things combined into one. And like even 3D World, like 3D New Super Mario Brothers Wii was like you can play as Mario, Luigi, or two random toads. And then they actually let you play as Princess in 3D World. Like the 3D World and 3D Land games were kind of doing the things that all of the Mario games should have been doing.
Yeah, and they just weren't.
And I like Meowser.
Well, Meows.
And that car that he drives, I think that's the Bad Wagon in Mario Kart 8, but I'm not sure.
Oh, speaking of disappointing like character selection screens,
Yeah.
Mario Kart 8, the original release was pretty bad as far as like who you could play as.
Well, at least you had all the Koopalings, right?
Oh yeah, because I mean, they have their fans, but when I think of Mario, I don't think of the Koopalings at all, like ever.
Cootie Pie Koopa. That was Wendy's name on the cartoon. Gosh. They made the cartoon before they had any names for the Koopalings, so they just made them up.
They just made shit up.
Well, yeah. Well, what's interesting is that Ludwig von Koopa was Kooky von Koopa, but like clearly they both teams saw the Beethoven influence in the character design.
Um, let's see. What did I want to talk about right now? Oh yeah, speaking of best Nintendo game, Nintendo will never make that. They're just unwilling to make something like it.
Hmm.
Hylics is the best Earthbound game that is not Earthbound.
I mean, is it really that similar to Earthbound beyond just being kind of a weird turn-based RPG?
Uh, Not really, but I just mean aesthetically, it reminds me so much of what the 3D models in
Oh
Earthbound
yeah,
are
because they had the
supposed to
clay
be.
models and all of the
And that game
comparable
looks
material.
wonderful. Like, I love the game on PC, but I hope it gets like a console port for Hylics 2, at least.
Yeah, they made a claymated Kirby game, I think.
Yeah, they did. It was the Wii U one. I own it. I don't remember what it's called.
I
Let
really
me look
liked
it up.
Canvas Curse, Rainbow something, Rainbow Curse.
I think Rainbow Curse was the DS one, and
No,
then
that
the
was
Wii U
Canvas
one was a
Curse.
sequel.
Canvas Curse was the
No, yeah,
DS
you're
one.
right. You know what? The Wii U one is called Kirby and the Rainbow Curse.
Oh,
There
Kirby
you go.
and the Rainbow Curse.
Canvas Curse is the DS
Yeah,
original.
I liked Canvas Curse, but that's like the only Kirby game I've ever beaten.
I mean, I love Kirby.
I feel
Kirby's
personally
good.
insulted by Kirby because people are like, "Oh, it's an easy game designed to be baby's first platformer," and then I'm really bad at it, and I'm like, "Oh God, what does that say about me?"
No, I think people don't give those games enough credit. Maybe the campaign, like the single player, like the regular levels are relatively easy, but you go into those bonus ones, the game no longer gives a shit about you. It says screw you, kid.
It's like
Like,
Kirby is one of those like, there's so much missing from the Switch Online games, but at least Kirby is pretty well represented.
I mean, even if it's just Superstar, I mean, Superstar is one of the best Super Nintendo games.
And it's not just Superstar though; they've also got Dreamland 3 and Dream Course for the SNES, and they've got Kirby's Adventure on the NES. So
I
it's
mean,
like a pretty
people,
full.
Nintendo represents Kirby really well on their consoles.
It's like Mario and Kirby and Zelda, pretty well represented, but like Donkey Kong Country, why only one?
And Metroid Prime, Metroid in general, they're just like, well, here's a remake of the second game on 3DS, like near the end of the lifespan, and that's all you're getting.
I know. They're just like, and they're like, well, Metroid doesn't sell well. It doesn't sell well because you release stuff like at the end of the system's lifespan.
They also don't advertise them all that well.
I mean,
I
yeah,
I
but
don't remember seeing basically any advertising when Samus Returns released.
yeah. Do you remember the commercials they did? I think it was for Other M, where it was just like some actress in a zero suit, like wiggling around, and it's like, what?
Oh no, those commercials were trying to sell a much better game. You know which Metroid commercials I liked? I liked the Metroid Prime commercial and I like the commercial for Fusion. Those
Have
are
you
good.
seen?
Those are good.
Have you seen the Super Metroid commercial where he like tries to feed Super Metroid to his dog, and then his dog turns into a Chihuahua?
No, but this sounds insane to me.
It is. He's just like he like he straps his dog in for Super Metroid, but then there's too much to handle, and the dog turns into a smaller dog.
Okay, I'm just gonna look it up on YouTube. I'll post a link.
Yeah, I mean the Nintendo commercials from the '90s, like the Yoshi's Island one, where it's literally just that scene from Meaning of Life where the guy eats so much food he explodes.
Wait, so the dog attacks a TV that has Super Metroid on it. What the hell?
I might have been describing it badly, but I know that Super Metroid like destroys this dog.
Okay, I thought you were saying the Super Metroid from the game does it. No, it's literally the
No, no,
video
the
game.
game Super
The
Metroid.
the game running on a Super Nintendo ate away at this dog's life and it became a Chihuahua?
Yeah, it
This sounds
shrinks.
really insulting towards Chihuahuas though. Like are they trying to say Chihuahuas are like a weaker life form?
Well, the way you ask any dog breeder, he'll tell you take a Rottweiler and then you put Super Metroid into your Super Nintendo and you just leave them alone for a little bit, and that's how you get a Chihuahua.
And you get a Chihuahua. Okay.
Gosh, and then like the Zelda rap is probably the all-time best old Nintendo commercial.
Well, I'll look at that some other day, but I will post a link to the YouTube video I just watched of a dog becoming a Chihuahua,
Because of
a
Super Metroid.
Chihuahua. Yeah.
You know, Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, what about him?
They released a game. It's called Mall Brawl. It's like kind of a River City Ransom type thing, and it was like a reproduction NES cart, and then they just put it on the Switch eShop because I guess they realized they wanted to make some money off of it. But the commercial they made is literally the two guys, or not Jay and Silent Bob, two random other guys rapping about the game in exactly the same like stanza and meter as the Zelda rap.
Well, that's oddly specific. I
I
mean,
know it's
how many
kind of a
people
deep
actually
cut.
know about the Zelda rap?
I think enough. I mean, it went pretty viral in the early 2000s when every terrible Nintendo decision went viral for a while.
Well, I mean, Nintendo had a terrible reputation in the 2000s because everybody thought the GameCube was for children.
Well, luckily Reggie was there to tell us that they were actually about kicking ass and taking names. Or no, that was
Yeah,
just
I
him.
miss Reggie.
Nintendo made games.
I
Oh,
miss Reggie,
Reggie.
but at least they have a guy named Bowser.
I mean, that's cool, but Bowser does not have the presence that Reggie had.
No, but I feel like he doesn't want to, which is fine. I mean, he's just an executive at a company. He's like the president, right, of
Yeah, he's
Nintendo of
the
America.
president of Nintendo of America. So it's like
And they don't
president.
actually develop anything. They're just distributing here in America.
Yeah, I mean they translate. The
Oh
first
yeah,
time they were
but
ever trusted with doing their own translation was the first Earthbound game, and then that was never released.
Well, they did a terrible job advertising Earthbound on SNES because I
Oh,
remember looking up that it came with like a vomit smell or something.
scratch and sniff, and it said, "This game
Yeah,
stinks," was their tagline. Like,
that
I
is a
don't know.
terrible tagline for your
You do
game.
fight a giant pile of vomit at one point in that game, so I mean,
But do you want to base your advertising campaign on that?
probably not. I mean, the
I would
Japanese
not describe
commercial,
Earthbound as a gross out game.
the Japanese commercial for the first game was like really epic, and they got like kids to dress up as the kids from the party and like wander around in front of a mountain.
That
I
sounds
I
a lot
still
better.
I still don't understand why Shigatsu Itoi is like famous in Japan. Apparently, he writes commercials.
Oh yeah, he's like a famous copywriter, which sounds insane because I can't think of a single famous copywriter in America. But yeah, he became famous because of his commercials.
Like I can think of like fictional ones, like the Don Draper character from Mad Men, but like I don't
No,
think
but
there's
I
any
think even
real.
on Mad Men, he's not famous. He's like
Yeah,
well known in the advertising community,
it's
but he's
true.
not famous like just people on the street are like, "Oh, I know who you are."
Yeah, he has his own website where he just posts like random stuff every day. Somebody asked him about doing Mother 4, and he said, "I'm lucky that I don't make video games for a living, or I might be forced to make another Mother game. But I don't, so I never will."
Which is fine. I mean, Earthbound only exists because he went to Nintendo and was like, "I want to make a video game."
But I mean, the problem is that Beat Takeshi beat him to it,
Yeah, that's true. I think Beat Takeshi did make a game before him.
and he's
But he also had
soured.
didn't he have Takeshi's Castle at the time back in the 80s?
Yeah, but his game had nothing to do with Takeshi's Castle. Although I think that show was in the '90s, but I don't know. He was also in
Let me
Ghost of
look
the
it up.
Shell. I remember being like, "Oh my god, he's still around?" Because he was
No,
in
he's
Ghost of
still
the
alive.
Shell as I forget who he played.
Oh no, okay, so Takeshi's Castle was 1986 to 1990.
Oh, wow. So it was really old when it aired on Spike TV. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and then they didn't even air it as Takeshi's Castle, right?
It was the most extreme elimination challenge.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, Takeshi's Challenge is apparently like from footage I've seen online, it looks like a terrible game, but on purpose, which doesn't mean I want to buy it or play it, but you know.
Well, that's apparently Miyamoto when he got the pitch from Mother. He was like, "We're not doing another celebrity game," and then his boss apparently made him apologize and do the game anyway because he was a fan.
Of Takeshi?
No, no, of Itoi. This was
Oh,
after
Vitoy.
Takeshi, and he was like,
Okay.
Another celebrity's coming with ideas, not again." And
And
then
this is a celebrity I like, so fuck you.
yeah, his boss was like, "You told him what? You call him up right now." Like the interview is kind of sad because Itoi says like he cried on the way home because he had his game pitch that he worked really hard on, and Miyamoto was just like, "Yeah."
It's like to hell with you, basically.
But I mean, his pitch was basically, "What if Dragon Quest?"
Wait, what if Dragon Quest, but what?
But no, just Dragon Quest. What if Dragon Quest?
No, was it literally just that? Not like, what if Dragon Quest, but in
No, that's
America?
an exaggeration. But yeah, I finally started because they released the translated version at long last, and I tried to do the Japanese version of that game, but my skills just aren't there.
Wait, of Earthbound Zero slash Beginnings?
Yeah, yeah, my skills just aren't there. Like I spent way too long trying to figure out the story at the beginning about George and Mary, and it took place in the early 1900s. Um, but basically, they were kidnapped, and only George came back. And it's like it's pretty like I would suspect George of killing Mary, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I bought Earthbound Beginnings on Wii U, but that game, it's just too dated for me,
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean, 8-bit RPGs are not for the faint of heart or the people who have places to be.
I
It's
honestly just don't see most of them as worth playing anymore because RPGs are so much better now.
I mean,
Like from the 90s on, they're mostly a lot better.
I got the mobile port of Dragon Quest 1, but I kind of lost interest.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like you just lose interest because they would have been better at the time because there was nothing else and it was
Yeah,
impressive. But nowadays, like I can play Persona 5. I can go play Divinity Original Sin 2. And
I've
even
never
that's on
heard of.
Switch if you don't own
Wait,
a
wait.
PC.
Is that the one with like the naked girl who's like a computer person, or was that a different game?
You're thinking of a different game. Divinity Original Sin 2, it's part of the. Do you know anything about the Divinity series?
No, I don't. I'm in the
Okay,
dark.
well, thankfully, if you ever want to play a good turn-based top-down RPG, Divinity Original Sin 2 is on Switch now. I have it on PC, but it's actually cross-save, so if you own one, you can play on the other.
I wish more games on Switch did that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, I do recommend it if you ever see it on sale. I'm not sure how big it is, because it takes up almost 60 gigabytes on my PC. But it
Jesus.
also has higher. I think it has like 4K support, so the
Mm.
textures are higher quality. So that might be a big reason why.
And that is a lot of gigs. Like I think that's more than my entire SD card. I think I'm at like 64 right now.
No, I'm pretty sure it's a lot smaller on Switch. But yeah, I
Oh no,
recommend that
I got
game.
an extra SD card. So I needed to fit Pokemon on
You
there.
know what? Let me look it up right now.
Oh yeah.
Divinity Original Sin 2
And speaking of
Switch.
sales, a lot of deals on the 3DS eShop right now.
Like what?
Oh, like the Phoenix Wright games.
Oh yeah, that's on 3DS though, right? Well, I mean
Yeah,
this.
on the
I'm
3DS
assuming
eShop.
Trilogy is on Switch too, but
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, they
I said
had
a lot of
a
deals on the.
Trilogy. Oh wait, go ahead.
I said a lot of deals on the 3DS eShop. Is what I said.
Oh yeah. Too bad God of Protectors isn't on sale. I bought that for 13, but it's a good game.
I'm
You should play
tempted,
it.
but I think I might hold out until the Switch sequel.
I mean, if they have online co-op, yeah, we can play.
Oh, that's gonna
I
be
wouldn't
cool.
mind. Okay,
Oh,
so it's 11.8 gigabytes on Switch.
that's big for a Switch game, but see,
But for how
Nintendo's
big
got the
it
magic.
was, it's pretty okay.
Thing is, Bug Fables was literally less than a gig. It was like
Oh yeah, and
400
I
megabytes.
know that you love Bug Fables.
Bug Fables is amazing. Hey, all you listeners out there in YouTube land, you should check out Bug Fables. Pretty cool.
I'm sure a few of them have, and I'm sure they love it as much as you do, if they were ever fans of Paper Mario.
Yeah.
Because you're not the only person I know who loves Bug Fables. I have another friend who she played it with her husband, and they loved that game.
It's
They
an
thought it was really
amazing
good.
game. And
Yeah,
it's just like it's what we all wanted, and
and
Nintendo
it
just
was 20 bucks.
I know it was a pretty
20
good
bucks full
price.
price.
I think it was 25 actually, but same diff.
Let me see. Let me see how much it is on Steam.
Probably
I
cheaper
still
on
have it
Steam.
on. Yeah, I have it on my wish list.
You got to pay the Nintendo Switch tax.
Yeah, it's 20 bucks full price on Steam.
People say like, "Oh, well, you can play it on the go," but you can't really because the Switch lasts for about 2 hours and then dies.
See, I know that you say that, but my Switch lasts longer. But then again, I have the V2 because I sold
Well, of
my
course yours lasts longer if
original.
you have the V2. That's not fair.
Well,
You're
even my
like,
original didn't like only last 2 hours when it was at full charge. It would last at least four playing Breath of the Wild.
really? Because I played Breath of the Wild on a plane and I made it 2 hours and that
Maybe
was
you
it.
have a bad battery.
Maybe, maybe. I wouldn't be surprised. There's a lot of hardware issues with the Switch.
Yeah, not just the Joy-Cons, because that Joy-Con drift, you get that, you're screwed.
Yeah, like the Game Boy, honestly, crappy screen, but that thing was indestructible.
I still think that the best handheld Nintendo ever made, comfort-wise, was probably the Game Boy Advance, like the original,
Yeah, it was actually wide enough for human hands. I never
and it,
got
and
why
it was
they added
comfortable.
shoulder buttons before they added additional face buttons.
I don't know. Maybe it was like a price thing. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean it's just kind of weird. I mean, you look at it like Super Nintendo controller was basically the end point for video game controllers, like four buttons arranged like that, and then the main control. Well, I guess the Dual Shock was the ultimate. Because I don't think we've really added any more buttons to controllers in general since the Dual Shock.
No, not really. Since the PlayStation with the dual analog
I
sticks,
mean, like
I don't
share
believe so.
buttons are new, but
Yeah, but you could have done that in a menu or a
yeah,
button combination. It wouldn't have been a big deal. And Xbox that had the dead end called the black and white buttons instead of bumpers.
I completely forgot about that until you brought it up.
About the
And
black and white buttons on the original
yeah,
Xbox.
like I actually like video game equipment has like been inverse to my growth. Like when I was a young kid, the Xbox had those giant controllers. And now
Yeah,
I'm
the
a grown
Duke.
man and I've got itty bitty Joy Cons and I'm trying to press those teeny tiny buttons. And I'm like, why didn't they make the big controllers when I was big?
Well, you know what? Those big controllers are still a little too uncomfortable for me, like the Duke controllers.
Yeah.
I own one, and it's okay. But like I said, those black and white buttons are a downgrade from having like an LB or RB or L1 or R1.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo didn't
Yeah.
really take the plunge on dual shoulder buttons until, I mean, sort of on the GameCube, but they only had three total shoulder buttons. Oh, that's another
Yeah, which I
thing.
thought was annoying.
Sunshine, you can't, it doesn't support GameCube controllers, but I mean, it does in the sense that every Switch game will work with a GameCube controller to an extent, but there's no button that is the L button because like it reads the Z button as an L button, but then sorry, the Z button is the R button, but there's nothing that works like an L button.
Yeah, I just see that as another sign of Nintendo being lazy.
I just hope that they haven't mapped anything important to the L button because then you can just use the GameCube controller anyway.
Well, like I said, I'm sure that once they do the 3D All Stars release, and I try playing with the GameCube controller, it's just gonna fuck up somehow. They're not. They could, like, patch something in so that I can play with my GameCube controller because I own the Wii U adapter, and it
Yeah.
works on Switch. But I don't know. They're not gonna have full controller support. I don't see it happening.
I was so glad that my Wii U adapter worked on Switch because I never got to use my Wii U adapter. Like, I just never had friends over to play Smash with. And I bought that game twice because it was too big. It was taking up too much space on my hard drive, and I'm like, "Ah, I'll just buy a physical." So, like, the sheer amount that I've spent on Smash Brothers for Wii U versus the time I played, there wasn't even a single player mode in that game.
Oh yeah, that's right. There was no real campaign, right? Like
Yeah, it
no
was just like
actual.
random battles, and like it
Yeah.
was just like little trophies. This is dumb.
Yeah, they got pretty lazy with that Wii U one.
One thing I really wish they had in Ultimate is just like some sort of description of all of the stickers. I know that would probably double the file size of the game, but like I don't know who most of these characters are.
I don't see it doubling anything. I think that was just more laziness on their part. Most things with Nintendo at this point, I just think laziness.
Yeah, you're
Like
really quick to
they or
judge
no,
Nintendo,
it's
huh?
I am very judgmental of Nintendo because there are other developers who have way smaller budgets on their game who are indie and they'll bother to do things like that.
I mean, you're right. It's like I said, the fan developers they work for nothing, and they'll give you widescreen. They'll give you all sorts of controller support. I want it to be a free roaming camera in Mario 64. I don't want that thing where you hit the direction and it goes like and moves a little bit.
If they couldn't even patch in widescreen support, I don't see it happening. I'm pretty sure you're going to have to press a button.
I could just make the camera better in Mario 64. That would make it like the perfect game.
They could also add the stuff from the DS version, but I'm pretty sure that didn't happen.
I mean, the stuff from the DS version was no great shakes. Bah.
Yeah, but I understand the DS version isn't super popular, and that I also didn't like the fact you have to have they had a run button like they
Oh
do
yeah.
in like 3D Land. Um, but yeah, I why not just add that as a
Well, because you
bonus
don't get
mode?
to play as Mario for the first like 9 stars, which is some nonsense.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of playing as Yoshi either at the beginning of that game. But like I said, as a bonus, like why not? You're already paying $60,
True.
and it's a DS game.
I mean,
Come
give
on.
me like Luigi dealing cards and playing blackjack.
At least add Luigi as a playable character.
Oh my god, that would be so crazy. Oh, if they've upres the textures, do you think we'll finally get to read what it says on the fountain?
Maybe.
What do you think it says?
Uh, I have no idea. Probably fuck you for reading this. I don't know.
The two prevailing
Maybe
theories.
that's why it's rated teen. Mario 64 got up to a T because of what it says on the fountain.
How many F bombs can you drop before you go from T to M? Is it like movies where you get one before you get the R rating, or
It
is it?
might just be the one. Actually, I can't think of any teen games that had the F bomb in it.
Yeah,
Can't think
I
of a
mean
single one.
even Halo like stopped short of dropping an F bomb. Do you remember when Cortana was like sawed off to Guilty Spark?
Did she say sawed off? I remember her calling him a bastard.
She said sawed off, and it's like you could. That's not even an expression. I don't think. Maybe it is in the future.
No, sawed off is an expression. It's not a very I don't think it's all that common. But yeah, like you're saying, Halo was an M-rated game and they still
Yeah,
didn't really
they
do
were
it.
afraid to drop an F-bomb. Oh, Halo. And they didn't even have like red colored blood. Like what was the M rating for in that game?
No, there was red colored blood for the human characters.
You weren't supposed to kill the humans. You
Oh no,
monster.
if they die in combat or you die in
Oh,
combat.
oh, Master Chief, and you just like ragdoll out.
Yeah, I love the ragdoll. Well, it wasn't. I don't even think it was full ragdoll. I think it was scripted because you would die and sometimes you would just like jump in the air a little,
Oh yeah.
and Master Chief would do his little like falling animation. It's pretty weird.
Man, I'm like, if I go back to that game, I don't know if I'll have as much fun as I used to, but my gosh, at the end when you're driving in the Jeep and it's like playing the violin and you're trying to escape the Pillar of Autumn before it explodes.
Now that is one of my top 10 gaming moments.
Um, that
Yeah, that
is
was a
up there
wonderful
with
moment.
me with at the end of Mario 64, cycling back to Mario again, when you get two hits on Bowser in the final fight and then suddenly pieces of the arena start falling off and it forms a giant star.
That was also a good moment.
Yeah, that was a great gaming moment. Like, man, it was intense fighting Bowser. Oh, did you see? Apparently, what we're getting is the Japanese version of Mario 64, where instead of saying "So long, Bowser," he just says "Bye bye."
Okay, what was he actually saying in the English version?
Well, according to Charles Martinet, he's saying "So long, King Bowser," but like that's not what he says at all. I think that he's just like he's doing the thing where he adds "a" to the end of a word, but he's doing it with long, so it's like "So long."
Let me see.
On
So
the
he's supposed
uncompressed
to be
audio.
saying, "So long, King Bowser."
Well, Martinet says it's "So long, King Bowser."
Oh no. So what Martinet says that he's saying, "So long, Bowser."
That's like it's part of long. It's him doing the
Yeah,
thing where he adds yeah.
longa,
So longa.
longa.
So long,
But because of
Bowser.
the compression, it sounds like "So long, gay Bowser."
Um, okay, Bowser. But the thing is, in Japan, he's not called Bowser, so he just says bye bye when he throws him.
I mean, it's not a huge deal, but it's just another instance of Nintendo going back and changing their games up.
Oh,
Like
did
even minor things for almost no reason.
did you see the picture of the M on Mario's hat?
Oh yes, with the it turns out on N64 the hat is like asymmetrical.
It's like a slightly wonky M, but then
But
it's like a perfectly
that's
symmetrical
such a
M.
small thing to go and change. You can't give me widescreen support, but you can do that.
I know, and like, what was
So
wrong with the
weird.
M being asymmetrical? I mean, maybe he made that hat himself. I don't think they sell like big M newsboy caps.
And it's an N64 game. Like I don't really it was an odd time because it was the first 3D Mario game. There were still a lot of things in Mario that weren't like set in stone.
Hmm.
So it's not really a big deal, honestly.
So one
I
thing
thought
that like
I was gonna say you're they're selling $60 worth of nostalgia and they go in and change things that don't really need to get changed and then don't change the things that should be changed.
well, like the one thing that got me in the DS version of Mario 64 is they went back and like added fuses to the bombs or not fuses, what do you call it? Winding keys because they're supposed to be wind up toys.
Mhm.
And then they also added spikes to the thwomps so that they would look more like they did in the 2D games. But, I liked the way they looked in the 3D games.
Oh well, let's send some fan mail to Nintendo so they can ignore it.
Um, I mean, have we ever seen thwomps again? We've seen womps a lot, but sorry, have we ever seen womps again? We've seen thwomps a lot. Confusing.
I honestly don't remember. You're the Super Mario Mega fan. Like I
Well,
like Nintendo well enough, but I don't really care too
Womp's
much about the
Fortress was
specifics.
in Galaxy 2, so I guess there were Womps there. So there we go. And there's the thing, like, so Womp's Fortress is apparently just floating in outer space in Galaxy 2. So was that painting in Peach's Castle like a portal to that galaxy?
Maybe. I
Like,
mean,
are the painting worlds that only exist inside paintings, or are they just portals to other places? Because in Odyssey, the paintings take you to other physical places.
I would assume they're portals to other physical places, but we should ask Nintendo about that.
Yeah, like not Galaxy, Sunshine, I wasn't sure what was going on because you could see the different parts of the island from the levels. Like, so they were physically over there, but you got there by like jumping into weird little glowy M's that apparently just like took you half a mile down the street to another part of the island.
Yeah, hard to say.
It's
I
weird.
don't think Nintendo really cares about what's canon and what's possible in
I
Mario.
don't
It's just
know.
whatever they want to do.
I just need to know the lore because, like, okay, in Smash Brothers, when uh when you play as Daisy, she has the move where she grabs a toad and holds him in front of her because she has all of Peach's moves. But the toads
Hmm.
aren't from Sarasa Land. Toads are from the Mushroom Kingdom.
Okay, but before you go on, I think okay, Connor, I think you think about this way more than the people at Nintendo do.
I know. I want to see
Like,
Sarasa Land again.
like I know that makes it sound like I'm saying, oh, who cares? Like, no, that like it does matter insofar as it's fun to talk about, and it would be nice if there were like certain things that were adhered to. But like I said, I don't think the people working at Nintendo actually care. They don't. They're not putting much thought into this. Same thing with like the Legend of Zelda timeline. Like they'll put in references for fans to as like a nod, but they don't really care, and that's fine. I don't really. It doesn't matter to me if they're actually if there is a real timeline.
I mean,
But I know there are people who really wish there was one.
my favorite Zelda timeline theory is just that it all only happened once. Zelda and Link and Ganon all fought each other one time, and just over history, it's been just gradually misremembered more and more. And every time you see another game, it's just a retelling.
Yeah, it seems the most. I mean, it's called the Legend of Zelda.
Yeah,
Legends. I mean, how many versions of Greek mythology are there?
at
You can't
least
even
six.
agree on whose son is who or whose aunt is whose or whatever. So yeah, that makes sense to me. It
Yeah.
also makes sense to me if if like there were multiple timelines and then there's like one event that happens that merges them all together, leading to Breath of the Wild as
Well,
like the latest one.
you see Lon Lon Ranch in Breath of the Wild, but I think that's the only like actual physical place that's recreated.
Yeah. Oh, well, honestly, as far as I'm concerned, Breath of the Wild is the latest game in the timeline, and there might have been multiple timelines, and they all just merged together through timeline nonsense.
That works.
That makes the most sense to me
I mean,
because
Wind
obviously
Waker.
Wind Waker, the world has already been flooded.
Yeah, so I don't think Wind Waker can coexist with Breath of the Wild, but
But then you have like the bird people from Wind Waker, and they're in Breath of the Wild.
that's true. But they were supposed to have evolved from the Zoras, which, by the way, the fish people, when the world became covered in water, evolved into birds.
Which yeah, that makes doesn't actually make much sense. You would think that now that the world's flooded, they're actually more like better adapted to survive.
And then in Skyward Sword, don't you go to like the ruins of the Sky People's world? No, not Skyward Sword. Twilight Princess.
I don't remember. It's been a while.
That's like you can piece something together with that. Like I do love environmental storytelling in games. Like you like in Mario World. The one level that's just a crashed ship from Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah, I mean, I like environmental stuff too.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I like about BioShock, System Shock, any of those games. Just like finding small things, and they actually hint or reinforce larger events in the story.
Yeah. Metroid
Yeah.
was good at that. And, like trying to explain what happened without really ever coming out
Oh
and
yeah,
killing
like
you.
Super Metroid when you find the dead body,
Mm.
and it's in later games they reveal that that's the same armor as like the Galactic Federation soldiers.
Oh
That's a
yeah,
nice
those.
detail that they expanded on.
I never made it all the way through Prime 3, but in that one there were actually Federation soldiers who talked to you.
Oh yeah, because they added voice acting in that one. You know what my favorite detail in Super Metroid Infusion is? If you save the three little aliens, you know who I'm
Mhm.
talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The
You
three
can see them
friendly
escaping,
aliens.
right? At the
Yeah, if you save them during the final escape sequence in Super Metroid, you see them. You see like a bright light flashing through the space, and in Infusion, it's revealed that they actually had a little spaceship, and they
Oh,
escaped. And then in the finale of Fusion, they save her by piloting her ship.
I don't
So I thought
remember
that
very
that was a
much of
great
Fusion, I
detail.
guess. But yeah, Fusion was
No,
cool.
because that was literally like the last image in Fusion before the credits is Samus thanking Adam, like the computerized Adam. She's like, "Oh, thanks for piloting the ship, but And then Adam's like, "Oh no, I can't even pilot this thing because it's all manual." He's like, "Oh, those other guys helped me," and they just show them all sleeping together. That was a nice way to end the Metroid series
Oh,
because
Metroid.
I
I
don't
guess they've
see.
chronologically we've never gone back.
Nope, we have never gone back because at this point, at the end of the timeline, Samus would be a fugitive.
Would she?
Be
I mean,
Yeah,
she
because she
defeated the
mentions
pirates though.
that no, because she committed a huge crime by going against what the Federation wanted. They wanted to preserve the space station. She blew it up.
But she saved the universe.
Yeah, but like they didn't give a shit about that. They wanted it'd be like if you blew up something the military owns.
And then they said that like she was permanently fused with the X parasite, but she can take the armor off because she does it in the special super special ending.
I think it's they mean fused, like how it's shown in other Metroid games that it's like the armor is part of her body, as in she can materialize it at will.
Yeah.
I think that's what they mean.
I honestly thought that was always kind of dumb. Like, can't it just be
Yeah, I
physical armor
agree.
she puts on? Like the Marvel movies do that too. Their clothes just appear now because they don't want to waste time with people putting things on.
Well, I don't mind with Iron Man, you know how his armor just like forms around his body.
Yeah,
I always thought that was more like what they were going for with Samus, but no, it's just magic.
it's magic.
I mean, it's supposed to be sci-fi tech that's so advanced that it's basically magic, but it's magic.
I
Doesn't
tried
matter.
reading the Metroid manga. I didn't make it all the way through, but apparently that explains what's going on with her and her family and how they died and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, they died really violently. I
Yeah,
think Ridley ate her parents, something like that.
Ridley, Ridley. That's why he's not going to be in like Nintendo Kart.
I mean, I would love it if he was in Mario Kart. That'd be great.
I mean, it
Put
took forever
Samus
for
in
him
there.
to show up in Smash.
Oh yeah, it took like when did the first Smash game come out? Like 2000?
1999.
99, so it took like what, 19 years to show up
We got Dark
as a
Samus
playable.
though, so that's cool.
Oh, that's true. That's a good
I mean,
nod to
show us
Prime.
Zero Suit Dark Samus, you cowards.
Well, I mean, underneath the helmet, she's just a skull.
But is her
Because
entire body a skeleton?
yeah, because in Metroid 2, when you defeat her, she starts melting.
But how do we know that her skin didn't melt off before we saw the skull?
Because in Prime, you can see through her armor, it's see-through, and it's just a skeleton.
I mean, I'm still saying give us Zero Suit. Wasn't like I think Prime 3 was the first time the Zero Suit showed up in the Prime series.
No, it was in Prime 2.
It was?
Yep.
Oh, cool. I know that like Zero Mission was in between Prime 1 and 2.
Oh wait, now I'm doubting myself. I'm
Or
looking
was it?
this up. But I think she was in her Zero suit in Prime 2.
I liked when she just had casual clothes when she wasn't wearing her armor. Like that was fun.
Yeah, she had her Zero suit in Prime 2.
Prime 2.
Yeah, in the secret ending.
Or the
But yeah,
Boost
I like
Guardian.
her look in Zero Mission where you can get endings where it just show her at like a bar drinking
I mean, that's
and
pretty
she's
risque.
wearing like the tank top and the shorts. Then they got boring. Now it's just a Zero suit, which was fine, which is okay, I guess.
But
But
like the Zero Suit's not like everyday wear. That's for wearing under the armor. Like the first time that we saw it, it was because the armor got destroyed.
But it's so weird because then they decided that the armor materializes on her, so she doesn't need to wear the Zero suit to materialize it, I'm assuming. Because in the other games, she could dematerialize it and just wear her tank top, right? Like in Fusion and in Super
Well,
Metroid's
in
ending.
Fusion, it like explodes off of her. Or although, because at the end of the original Metro, she does just make it disappear. Um, but I think that might be because they did not have the ability to animate somebody taking something off. Um, Although I do love that they put in an entire sprite, like an entire set of sprites for Suitless Samus in this game where space was probably at a premium that like most people would
That's
never
true.
ever see.
Yeah, they had to do a unique Samus sprite just for when she dies.
A lot of people think she has green hair, but it's actually because by the time you get to the end of the game, you're wearing the barrier suit or the barrier suit if you want to be all weep about it. And that changes her color palette.
I'm looking at Samus's suits throughout the games, trying to decide which is my least favorite.
I think the Metroid One suit is the worst one.
Yeah, but the Zero Mission version of it, which is, like the updated one, looks really nice to me.
Have you ever seen the concept art for the Metroid cartoon?
No, but I'm assuming it's actually pretty terrible.
It's actually kind of okay. It's just Samus is a man for some reason. It's like, did you even did anyone tell the person doing the concept art? Probably not.
No, they probably just heard Samus and were like, Samuel, okay.
I mean, to be fair, the instruction manual said Samus was a guy in the first game.
But I don't think they repeated that for the sequels, right?
No, but the sequel wasn't out yet. This was for the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Oh, I see.
See, the original idea it would be all sorts of Nintendo games, but then they ended up just doing Mario and Zelda, and like Zelda feels really out of place on that show because it's like Mario 5 days a week or 4 days a week, and then Zelda every Friday.
You know who's never gonna get an anniversary collection?
Who?
Metroid.
I
Because the
mean, that's
30th
true.
anniversary was 2016 and nothing happened.
Well, the 35th is next year.
Nothing's gonna happen.
Maybe
I can
something
already
nice
see
will
it.
happen.
Like nothing will happen. I think Zelda's anniversary is next year too.
I mean, they already released a 3D collection. They had Prime Trilogy on the Wii.
Yeah, that was like 10 years ago. 11 years ago.
I don't even. What kind of game was Other M even? Like it was like a third-person action game.
Essentially, you had automatic lock-on shooting. It was top-down mostly. Like the camera would move around with you. It was fixed camera angles.
Because like Team Ninja, the company that brought us Advanced Jiggle Physics and Rachel from Ninja Gaiden being in charge of Samus didn't inspire confidence.
I don't even blame the Ninja Gaiden people because they're competent developers. I actually blame the guy who was like co-creator on Metroid. I don't remember what his exact position is, but he was like, "Okay, I want to make a 3D Metroid action game, but I don't want to use the analog stick." So instead, you play the game like you hold the Wii remote horizontally,
Hmm.
and you move Samus around with the directional, even though you're playing a 3D game.
Sounds like a nightmare.
I mean, it's not that bad, but it's still strange because it's like they even told him like they even mentioned that the one of the head guys in Ninja Gaiden at Team Ninja was like, we could just use the like the nunchuck and the Wii remote, and it would make everything easier because you can move with the stick in a three-dimensional space. And he was like, no, I want this to be like Super Metroid,
Not even
except
you
your
don't even
game
have
doesn't
enough
play like
buttons.
Super Metroid. Yeah, it's weird. It's like your game doesn't even play like Super Metroid, so why do you want to use the controls like you're playing on on because the Wii remote doesn't even have as many buttons as the Super Nintendo controller.
It was basically just an NES controller.
Yeah, so you want to play a complex 3D action game, but you want to rely on waggle? It was just
So
dumb.
bad. I don't know how they're gonna do Waggle on. Well, I guess I do, because they did Waggle in Odyssey, so I guess Waggle's gonna be the same in Galaxy.
Yeah, but apparently you have to take off the Joy-Cons and then just like use the pointer, the IR
What's
pointer.
Odyssey kept suggesting that you play with the Joy Cons instead of the Pro Controller or the.
I never did that. I just
I
said
know
fuck it.
the Pro Controller is so nice. Like the Switch should come with a Pro Controller. Hot take. Like it really should,
Yeah, I agree.
because they made compromises on the Joy Cons to get them to work the way they do. Like the fact that there's no D-pad because they need to be able to have it work horizontally.
In a perfect world, it would come with the Pro controller and for like $20 extra maybe. Not the full 60, like $20 extra because it's a bundle and it would come with the Joy-Cons so that you can play two player.
This is where I'm going to get controversial. There's nothing wrong with circle paths. They're fine and they work when you need to fold something flat. Like putting full on joysticks on something that's supposed to be portable is a bad idea.
Oh, you mean because it can break off?
Yeah, well, not just that, but like you can't put it in a pocket. It can't have a clamshell design the way that the DS did. Like imagine if the Switch had like a clam design. You could actually put it in your pocket, maybe. Actually take it places.
They should have at least have done that for the Switch Lite.
I mean, yeah, and look at the 2DS. It was like a cheese wedge.
Yeah, I bought a 2DS for my sister for one of her birthdays a few years ago. It's comfortable. It's kind of mushy though.
That mush. See, I'm experiencing my NES controllers now, and it's like, man, back in the day, the controller was just a box with sharp corners, and they were like, "Have fun, kids."
Is it comfortable or even accurate to the actual NES controllers, or do
I've
you?
only used an NES controller like once, and it was at a retro game expo. But as far as I can tell, it's a one-to-one recreation.
Okay.
I mean, it's
Well,
the same
I
company,
wonder
so
I wonder if it's as good as the NES Classic Edition controllers, because
I mean,
those
I
are
think they
pretty accurate.
probably reused all the same components except for adding a wireless dongle on it. Because I mean,
Eh,
why would they make two separate sets of plastic molds?
yeah, that's true.
I mean, I'm having a great time. I've been trying to beat Double Dragon on the NES, and it's really tough.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, you still want to get the fourth Double Dragon, right? Even though
I'm thinking
all
about
the
it. It's
reviews say it's
actually
garbage.
it's free on the App Store, and I know the mobile version is gonna suck, but if the console version sucks too, one thing is there's no online multiplayer, but I might as well just get it on the App Store.
And see how bad it is.
Yeah,
And
I
if
mean,
it's okay, you might buy it on Switch or something.
the thing that kills me is that Double Dragon 5 came out on, I think, the Super Nintendo. And basically, their reasoning was the Double Dragon or the Super Double Dragon counted as Double Dragon 4. And then this game was like, no, that didn't count. This is Double Dragon 4. So now Double Dragon 5 is over here just looking like an idiot.
For being ahead of the curve, like 20
Yeah.
years too early.
It's like you look at the chronology of the games, it's like Double Dragon 1, 2, 3, 5, and then 4. Yeah, it was Super Nintendo. But it was like a Street Fighter type of thing, Double Dragon 5.
All right, well, I'm looking a little bit more at the 35th anniversary stuff. And
Have you figured out what was rated T yet?
no, I have not. Let me look up for that specifically. 35th anniversary Mario teen rating.
I mean, the one kind of interesting thing about Double Dragon 5 is it's based on the cartoon, not the previous games. And then Double Dragon on the Neo Geo is based on the movie, not the previous games. So there's these two games that are just completely unrelated to the series that exist for teen.
Yeah, I honestly can't find
I mean, could
anything.
it be Super Mario Brothers Monopoly? Like what?
Why
What
would
a
Monopoly be
subobjection.
rated teen?
I don't know. It teaches bad lessons. God, there's so many pictures of Mario on the Mariopoly cover.
Yeah, frankly, I have no idea what could possibly be teen.
Maybe Bowser's Minions.
Bowser's Fury or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
Bowser's Fury.
yeah,
That looks
no
cool.
idea.
It's just like,
It's
did
just
they
sixty
advertise something
dollars.
else?
$60 for 3D World. Like, come on.
Well, it's 99 cents for 3D World and $59 for Bowser's Fury.
Yeah, wonderful logic.
Yep.
Wonderful logic.
I mean, it's the same with Mario 64. I was saying over text that I already have 4 copies of Mario 64 in my possession. I've got the Wii U Virtual Console. I've got 2 N64 cartridges because I was a dumb kid and I lost my cartridge. And eventually I got another one, but then I found the old one. So I've actually got both the one that says KA on it and the one that says E on it. And then, because you remember they changed the ratings.
Yeah, yeah.
and then I have 64 DS. So combine that with the All Stars pack I just bought. Now I've got 5 copies of this game.
And hopefully 3D All Stars is at least as decent as an N64 cart.
I mean, I can imagine like playing these games on a pro controller seems pretty cool, except you can't play Galaxy on a pro controller. But can you do gyro pointing with a pro?
Um, yeah, it's got gyro aiming. You could do gyro aiming.
Maybe I could do it. Cuz like you get the feeling
Possible.
playing Breath of the Wild that they're expecting you to play in handheld mode for a lot of the time. Cuz you try and do those like motion puzzles with the separate Joy-Cons and it's just like a confusing nightmare.
Oh, you know what? With Breath of the Wild, I'm pretty sure that on Wii U they meant for it to be touch based. You know, your inventory, because the inventory is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And on Wii U, they took out any touch functionality the game was probably meant to have, just so that they couldn't say the Wii U version had a better inventory.
I mean, I considered getting it on Wii U, but instead I held out for months and months and months till I had a Switch.
It's better on Switch, so I wouldn't worry. The only thing that Wii U has over Switch is that you could, if you get the Wii U emulator, you could put in the Blu-ray disc for the Wii U version and play it that way at 60 frames per second. That's about the only positive. Like I wouldn't bother with the Wii U version over Switch.
And Twilight Princess was a similar situation where it came out for 2 systems around the same time.
Yeah, except in that case the GameCube version's better.
Yeah. I mean, I went
And
with
even
the
the Wii U version is based on the GameCube version because the world's flipped to the GameCube version. Or
yeah,
rather,
so
the Wii version was flipped and the GameCube was the original because you
so
have
that Link would be
left-handed Link.
right-handed, yeah.
Yeah. And
I
then
went with the
Skyward
Wii
Sword came out and he was officially the first right-handed Link.
with the special motion combat. I mean, honestly, Skyward
Actually,
Sword. Yeah.
wait. I just want to make the point. In Breath of the Wild, why is he right-handed?
Is he?
Yeah, he's right-handed in Breath of the Wild in all versions.
That is a strange choice. Also, he has no penis.
Well, I never bothered finding that out.
I'm just saying, like, it's the same situation as Solid Snake, where the clothing is very form-fitting, and you don't have plausible deniability here. And
Okay,
also,
but he
he's
does have a nice ass in Metal Gear though.
true, but like Link has long blonde hair and wide childbearing hips, and I'm pretty sure that they were gonna have a female main character, and they chickened out and didn't change very much.
No, what I my money's on they were going to give you the option to play as a female Link, and they
Remember
just and
Linkle?
like you said they chickened out. It would have been nice.
I mean, it would have been. I mean, everybody thought it was a female Link when the first trailer came out.
No, you know what it probably is? They probably chickened out because if they gave you the female Link option, it would have a lesbian romance overtone to it because Zelda and Link seem to be pretty romantically involved in Breath of the Wild if you get all the memories.
I mean, I'm really getting a vibe from the one Gerudo girl and Zelda, though. So I think that you would have got those lesbian overtones either way.
Well, yeah, but I don't think most people really care about that. They would have cared more for Link and Zelda.
It's true. It's true. Honestly, I like that version of Zelda.
Breath of the Wild Zelda.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild Zelda. She's
Oh
got
no,
a
she's
lot
got a
going
great
on.
design. Great
Tetra was a
design.
fun Zelda.
She actually does things in the plot.
You notice both Tetra and Sheik, the second they put on their purple dress, they get kidnapped.
Yeah, it's like this weird lesson Nintendo's trying to teach. Like, as soon as you're, like, dressed in a, what's the word I want to? Well, I was gonna say stereotypical, but like a standard feminine attire, like you're just immediately kidnapped.
It's like Tetra, I believe, takes other people hostage over the course of the game. So
Well, yeah,
really,
'cause
she's
she's a
just getting a
pirate.
taste of her own medicine.
Well, I guess, but Tetra's a pirate though, so you'd expect her to kidnap people.
Suppose so. I suppose so. Just like I'm trying to remember the plot of Wind Waker. It's like pirates attack and a giant bird attacks on the same day.
Yeah, your sister gets kidnapped in that one.
Yeah, but not by the pirates, by the bird. But the pirates just
Yeah.
show up at the same time, and it's like it feels like the pirates should have been the ones to kidnap the sister, but
Well, yeah, but doesn't Link team up with the pirates?
yeah, to get the sister back. Remember the rich man and the poor man that switch places
In Wind Waker?
in Wind Waker? They both had their daughters kidnapped, and the rich man spends all his inheritance uh, on ransom money, and the poor man ends up becoming rich.
Should have just sent Link in to beat the poor guy.
He's very angry at Link when he's poor. He's like, "Oh, you're the one who promises big things and then doesn't deliver." Stealth section though was some
Oh
nonsense.
well. This Mario 35th anniversary, I mean, it's kind of a mixed bag as far as
Well,
I'm concerned.
I crunched the numbers here, and I think to get all of this anniversary swag, discounting the merchandise. Wait, what is Splatoon rated? Is that rated T?
I think it's E10.
Then what the hell is rated T? But not counting the merchandise, like weirdly, the Splatoon shirts, actual real shirts that you can get with pictures of Mario icons with ink on them. I don't know who's buying those. Um, but you would be spending about $270 before taxes to get all this Mario stuff. Because we
Fuck.
got, or it would be more than that because we got two $60 games. So that's 120, and
Uh-huh.
then we're
Plus
at
tax.
220, yeah, plus tax. And then we're at 220 with the Mario Kart thing, and then another $50 for the no 270. Yeah, that's
And
for.
then switch online to play the 35, the Super Mario Brothers 35.
I mean, I already have Switch Online, but yeah,
But for
so
those who
that's 20.
haven't,
So we're at
yeah,
$290 to get all the stuff, and then tax. That's gonna push us over 300.
as much as a new Switch.
Yeah. So it's like you could get two Switches and no games, or you could get a Switch and all this fun Mario anniversary stuff.
And you can get a Switch Lite and then buy 3D All Stars and not be able to play Galaxy.
Are you gonna get 3D All Stars, by the way?
I think I'll just buy it off Best Buy. Like, as much as I'm trash talking, I wouldn't mind owning Sunshine again
I know
because I sold
Sunshine
my
with a Pro
GameCube copy.
controller sounds amazing.
Yeah. I mean,
Why
there's
did you
always
sell Sunshine?
Dolphin. I mean, there's always Dolphin, but I do like owning my
Nah,
games.
I don't know what that is, but if I did, doesn't
If
it
you
have
did,
trouble handling GameCube games?
you would not condone Dolphin.
No, not at
Okay,
all. I
well,
need
back to why I sold Sunshine. I think it's just because it was worth a lot at the time,
it
and I
was.
wanted something else.
Is it worth a lot right now?
Let's see how much it's worth right now.
Because I've got it like well at my parents' house probably.
Let's see how much Sunshine is worth on GameCube if you have the box and manual. $74.
I mean, that's not that much more than I mean, it's
I think I
accounting for
sold it
inflation.
for 50 a few years ago.
I mean, that's like full price. What about Thousand Year Door? What can I get for that?
See? Player's choice or regular? I mean, it doesn't really matter. Complete
Regular. I get
129.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yep. Loose, if you just sold the disc, you would sell it for about $95.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing for a loose game. Is it that rare?
I don't think it's so much. I mean, I assume it wasn't produced in humongous quantities, but at the same time, I think it's just because it's considered to be like a really good RPG on GameCube.
I mean, it's one of my all-time favorites.
And GameCube games are just, more expensive. Plus, I don't think Dolphin runs it all that well for a lot of people.
I mean, I know somebody for whom Dolphin just crashed at the beginning of the game when the
Oh no,
professors.
I ended up fixing that actually. I can play the whole thing.
It's crazy. What did you do?
I got a better computer.
Oh, that's a very expensive fix to the problem.
Well, yeah, but now I can run basically anything. So I'm a-okay. I'm a-okay.
Okay, okay, we need to get the clip of Donkey Kong saying "okay" and just play it.
No, we need a DK rap, and
Oh,
also the Donkey Kong singing in the cartoon.
oh my gosh, his singing voice was in OKKO. They went and they got him to do a scene.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, they should. I guess. Well, he had two actors, right? He had the actual
Yeah,
singing
and
voice, and
he's
then he had the actor,
very clearly, he's the
a
only one
different
that they
person.
felt they needed to buy a singer for because everybody else is terrible, and then he just comes in with his silky smooth voice, like crooning. And it's just like, oh
He
my god.
he elevated the whole show.
And then Cranky, like I think "I Wanna Be a Star" is the quintessential Donkey Kong Country song because like Cranky and Diddy are singing in their ridiculous shrill voices, and then like Donkey comes in and it's just like an actual professional singer.
I guess Donkey Kong turned 35 like 4 years ago, but they didn't bring back the singer to sing the 35th anniversary, so that's unfortunate.
I mean, they're counting from Super Mario Brothers and not from Donkey Kong for Mario. So I think they might count from Donkey Kong Country and not from Donkey Kong for Donkey Kong.
That'd be really weird.
Well, it's weird that they count from Super Mario Brothers for Mario.
Oh yeah, I mean because he had Mario Brothers.
Well, Andy had Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong, he was Jumpman though.
He wasn't Jumpman the whole time. It said Mario on a lot of the arcade cabinets.
Are you sure that didn't come out after Mario Brothers?
No, not after Mario Brothers. There are multiple sticker sets that they put on those machines.
Oh well, I'd have to look
And
into
on
it.
the
I hadn't
terrible
heard about
Atari
that.
home versions, he was called Mario.
I hadn't heard about that.
Have you ever seen the cover for I think it was the Intellivision version where they interpret Mario based on the sprite art and it is not the same as how he looks now.
Well, let's see.
Let me see if I can find it for you. I used to have a portable device that I could use to communicate with people, and I set it down somewhere and it vanished forever. Hmm. Go.
He's purple or
No,
something.
he's not purple. Let me see. Can I send images over Discord? I don't know if I can do that.
I think you can if you go to the text channel.
I mean, he's purple in the actual like graphics of the Atari version, but I'm talking about the box. It might have been the ColecoVision I'm thinking of, because the ColecoVision was the best version of the game. Oh, here we go.
Right, you can send it to my phone or on Discord. Either
There we go.
way.
I'm sending it on Discord. Upload.
What the fuck is going on with Donkey Kong?
And we should share this in like, or you could put it in the video for the
I'll just flash it real quick in the video. But this is
see.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
Is that Thor's hammer?
it's yeah,
It's got like a lightning bolt or something on it.
it does. I guess that's Thor's hammer. And there's the fireball
And
down there.
he's
Look at
got he's got a really nice mullet too.
Donkey Kong appears to be an orangutan, but he's brown. Like his arms are all crazy. And look at
No,
Pauline over there.
Donkey Kong looks more like Wolfman
He does.
than he does a gorilla.
It's based on the real arcade game.
Wow, this is CBS Electronics. Amazing.
Television, and my gosh, the
That's
construction site
shocking.
they're on. And it's like
That's
he's
amazing.
wearing red and he has a mustache. So I mean,
I'm
I
I'm
guess
telling you, the first Super Mario Brothers movie should have been based on this poster. It would have been
I
a better
know
movie.
it would have been.
I would have
Uh,
paid for that. I'd buy the Blu-ray.
Now the sort of depressing news is apparently cooler heads eventually prevailed at CBS Electronics, and it looks like they made a different box. Uh,
Donkey Kong still looks weird, but Mario looks more like Mario.
yeah.
He's got a mullet, but he looks like Mario.
I mean, have you seen like the early arcade cabinet art where they didn't even hide that he was supposed to be Popeye?
No, I have not.
I think that stuff made it into the
Why isn't this being celebrated by Nintendo for the 35th?
well, because
This
it's
should
more
be
than 35
celebrated.
years old. It's
Doesn't matter. They should put this in as part of Mario's history.
I mean, Donkey Kong turns 40 like next year, right?
A lot
1981.
of things are turning 40, apparently.
A lot of things.
Yeah. Doesn't Metroid turn? Oh wait, no. I'm
No,
thinking of something else.
Metroid.
Never mind. Ignore what I said. Ignore what I
Okay.
said.
Oh my gosh, the Milton Bradley Donkey Kong puzzle. Do you dare?
Sure, go ahead.
See, what I love is this was before there were any sort of model sheets or anything for these characters.
Yeah, now we have a very standard Mario look.
But here we go. Here's the piece of art I was talking about, where some uh enterprising young internet person. Or no, never mind. Here's the original
Well,
version.
I can see why Mario did not keep this design.
And they've gone in and they've retouched it as a comparison. Oh no, I just tried to upload too large of a file. Let's try one more time. And this is going to be the last Donkey Kong image. Let's see, look at Mario down there, and the Popeye influence is very, very clear.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to put these in the video just to show off because these are amazing works of art.
I know. You know, one of the funniest things was there was a Mario plush doll, right? To like tie into Donkey Kong. But the
Hmm.
tag, the copyright tag on the doll was from the 1970s. And for the longest time, it was this mystery. It was like, why is there a Mario doll that's from like a couple years before Donkey Kong came out? And apparently, for prototype dolls, they just reuse copyright tags.
That's interesting to know.
I know, so that solved the mystery. But I did like that there was just an inexplicable Mario toy nobody could place.
Oh well.
I mean, like the world of Nintendo before there were any standardized model sheets or any references for how you had to represent the characters.
It was a more fascinating time because now we just get the same looking Mario in every game.
I know. There's even like a Master Mario that they it's like a maquette, like a model you're supposed to use as reference that they
You know
give to
what?
you.
If Mario looked as different in the games as he does in these pieces of art, like you could say, yeah, Mario gets like new games every year or two, right? But at
Yeah.
least they look different,
Like
and
the
you can still
proper
tell
Mario.
it's Mario.
It's like 5 years in between proper Marios. Just doing the math here, like 91 Mario World,
No, no,
96.
I get the main series, but I'm talking about just like Nintendo's always releasing Mario in various games,
Yeah.
even if they're not mainline.
You see in the video at the end, they're like, even if you play other Mario games, and then just like a bunch of spin-offs pop up on the side of their image.
Yeah, even like Mario DDR. Why isn't Mario DDR being re-released?
They acknowledged Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games in that video, but not Galaxy 2.
Or Mario DDR for the
I
GameCube.
mean, the Mushroom Kingdom mix.
Yep, whatever that was called. But yeah,
I never gave that one a try, but man,
they should re-release it to arcades like Dave and Buster's or something.
I want to see Mario Strikers again. Like I didn't even like that game that much. I just really like the designs.
They did do a Wii sequel, but I wouldn't mind a Switch version. I mean, they came out with Mario Tennis again.
Yeah,
Screw it, come out with Mario Strikers 3 or whatever they want to
let's come
call
up
it.
with Mario Sports All Stars. Come on, you cowards.
Oh
Mario
yeah, just
Strikers
like
and Mario
just do
Sluggers.
yeah, just have them all in a collection. Sure, why not?
It's
Re-release.
like
They need to re-release more GameCube games.
the Mario sports games that just don't tell you what sport they're playing. It's like Sluggers, Strikers. What game is that? Like,
Strikers sounds more like bowling, honestly.
and then Sluggers is baseball, and I guess you could figure that out, but like that's weird.
I wonder what they were called in Japan.
I don't know because I feel like they were too afraid to call it soccer because they didn't want to do different titles in different territories
Oh
for
yeah,
soccer.
because then they'd have to call it Mario Football.
Yeah, but what's wrong
Football.
with Mario baseball? Like I don't see the problem with that. And there's like Mario played golf multiple times, but it wasn't Mario Golf until the N64 era.
And we really need Waluigi in a mainline Mario game at this point.
It's weird to me that in the new Mario Tennis game, Waluigi like has a different tennis outfit when he debuted in Mario Tennis wearing his normal outfit.
That's true.
I mean, we've got Mario Tennis to thank for Daisy being a thing again, because like she showed up in NES Open Tournament Golf, but that was about it until Mario Tennis on the N64. One thing is that for a while, Daisy was the only dark-skinned human we had ever seen in the world of Mario, and they lightened her.
I find that highly disturbing. I think Nintendo should release an apology now that they're in the 35th anniversary.
Well, it's actually only the 31st anniversary of Daisy. You think
Yeah,
they'll have a
but
year of Daisy like they had a year of Luigi?
I doubtful. But they should issue an apology for this grave injustice.
I know. See,
And
their
that
their
sounds like a
logic.
joke. That sounds like I'm joking, but I'm only sort of joking because that is pretty fucked up.
There are no dark-skinned humans in the world of Mario.
Yeah, I can't think of a single one,
And like
actually.
Daisy, she
And
was she was only just like sort of tan, but their logic was that Sarasaland was like a desert kingdom, so she would be darker.
and Mario and Luigi are, for being Italian, they're quite light,
They're
actually.
not swarthy. They're not swarthy gentlemen.
I haven't heard anybody described as swarthy in a long, long time. But but I get your point that they're quite light skinned. Yeah. I think it might just be a, well, you know what? At least I can't really think of any yeah, she looked in that image you sent me, which I'll put in the video. Yeah, she looks quite a bit darker. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you could argue that she is any race on Earth, but she's definitely
Potentially,
noticeably
potentially.
darker than Princess Peach.
Well, at least as far as I'm aware of, Nintendo hasn't done blackface in a Mario game quite yet.
Oh,
So
but
we
they
should count.
have.
Oh, they. Well, I'm not gonna. If you find the image, I won't put it up.
Well,
But
in Doki Doki
people.
Panic.
Doki Doki Panic isn't really Mario though.
Well, okay, but that
Did
did
they
have
remove
that.
them in? Did they remove them in Mario Brothers 2?
They did. They replaced him with a Koopa shell, and honestly, that just showed that the item made no sense. It was like this weird blackface head, and you threw it down, and it slid across the ground and killed any enemies it hit. And it's like, there's the logic behind that makes no sense. So they replaced it with a turtle shell. It's like, oh, okay.
It's pretty screwed up. Wait, so we're calling the podcast Okie Dokie Panic, and in Doki Doki Panic there was blackface.
Arguably, it was a mask because every item that you grab in that game is a mask. But
Well, yeah, hopefully it was just meant to be a mask and they just didn't know any better, which still isn't really excusable. But they're also Japanese developers who don't really care because there
there was
aren't,
this one game where like you just
it's a
played as
homogenous country. Yeah.
and then when it was released in America, they changed it to be less controversial. There you go.
Yeah, that's pretty screwed up.
I mean, it's like it's abstract enough that maybe you could make a case that it's not that, but
I still feel, well, I mean, if you go back to old Disney cartoons and how influential Disney was on Japanese animation
mhm.
and just illustrating, cartoons, there was a lot of blackface in Disney. So, yeah.
Specifically Preston Blair, who worked on Bambi, he did a book called How to Draw and Animate Cartoons that Osamu Tezuka used as the instructional volume for his entire animation studio when they started work on Astro Boy. So it's like it's not even really Disney specifically. It's one guy that worked for Disney that was like the real big influence on anime.
I could see it argued either way. And Tezuko did use blackface in his own stuff. Like if you
Mhm.
look at his earlier stuff, he had some really offensive stereotypes. It
Have you
wasn't
ever read
until near the end of his career that he actually had more realistic looking people who were
Have you ever
black.
read Alabaster?
No, I have not.
It's the story of a black man who through a freak accident turns white and then takes revenge on all the people that wronged him when he was black. And it's called Alabaster because that's like another word for white. And it is a ridiculous manga. And it's
Yeah,
it's
I'm
by
just.
the older Tezuka, so it's like the 70s that he did this one.
Oh wow. Well, I think should we end the episode since I know you had to do something at 3, right?
Well, actually, the we never ended up capturing that poor kitten, so we don't have to pick them up at 3. But if you think we've come to a natural stopping point,
I think transitioning from Super Mario Brothers 30th anniversary trash talk to the history of blackface in Nintendo and Japanese animation is a good stopping point.
well, maybe before we start, we should just cycle back
Yeah.
to our main topic, which was the
Yes,
35th Mario anniversary. I mean, did
and
we ever
how
really
they should just issue an apology for anything they've done wrong.
like maybe for people who are just coming to listen to this and don't know what's going on, we should just enumerate that in honor of the 35th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers, Nintendo is releasing a collection of 3D Mario games called Super Mario 3D All Stars, a re-release of Super Mario 3D World with an additional piece of bonus content called Bowser's Fury, a Game and Watch system that only plays the first two Super Mario Brothers games, and a set of real remote-controlled Mario Karts that cost $100. And just for everybody's edification, maybe we should cut that and put it at the beginning. But that's what's going on in the world.
Uh, Perhaps we will put that at the beginning. Well, we'll see. We
We'll
shall
see.
see.
We'll see what goes on. But yeah, the Mario anniversary. I've already pre-ordered my Super Mario 3D All Stars game.
And I will soon pre-order it because since it is unfortunately a limited edition thing, I do want to own Sunshine on Switch. So, and I want a physical copy, not a
It's
digital,
like
so
if
screw it.
something happens to your Switch, like you can't re-download that.
Yeah,
They,
especially
they
with the
get too
Wii.
much stuff.
Remember when they got rid of the Wii eShop? Now I can't buy anything.
That's some nonsense, and I can't
I can't
transfer
even
my stuff.
re-download anything.
It's ridiculous. I had a lot of virtual console games on the Wii too. I had Mario 3, and I had
No, see, I made sure to re-download everything onto an SD card,
oh,
but
that's
if
smart.
anything happens to the SD card, I can't download them again.
No, I mean by that logic, the physical copy isn't safe if anything happens to it. But
True, true.
still, though, like I feel like I got to get the physical. It's a limited edition release. It says it's going to come in the mail on the 18th, and you better get on that because you know this is going to sell out.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
this is
gonna
even worse than the fucking Game Gear. You remember that thing?
the Game Gear. What about the Game Gear?
Sega re-released a Game Gear
Oh,
that
yes.
it
That's
had like
what you know
four
what?
games
That's what
on
I
it.
thought of. That's what I thought of when they announced the Game and Watch thing. I was like,
Except
even the Game Gear is a better deal. The Game Gear Mini or whatever they're calling it
they
is a
took
better
this
deal than
terrible
that.
idea and they made it worse. They're like, it can only really play one game. Well, technically two, but let's be real, it's one game.
Yeah,
And
they took Sega's idea and they're like, we're Nintendo. We can improve on that, but because that was a terrible idea, we'll make it worse.
was that what Sagata's Senshiro Jr. was supposed to advertise?
I hope not.
Like, it felt like that was building to something, and then it was just like, it just stopped.
I wish he'd been advertising like a Sega Saturn, like even if not a mini, at least like a digital re-release of like Panzer Dragoon Saga or something.
I mean, there's just no nostalgia for the Saturn, really,
No,
except
I
for you.
suppose not. I mean, I love the Saturn, but yeah, most people don't even know what it is.
I mean, like, I was only vaguely aware of the Saturn at the time. I was an N64 kid, and I knew about the PlayStation. The thing is, like, nobody seems to be nostalgic for the PlayStation, even though way more kids had one.
Well, you also have, I think the PlayStation Classic would have sold better had it not been garbage.
True. It didn't even have analog sticks, did it?
No, they went full classic and just went with the original release. So that's an example of a bad anniversary, like just plain bad, because even the games were like the European versions and they ran slower.
The thing is, like, Sony, not that I have any insider knowledge at all of Sony, uh, they uh, they don't want to foster nostalgia. I heard so like they deliberately stop their game series after a certain amount of time. But then the downside to that is like adults now aren't like, oh wow, Spyro, I remember. Well, they are, but they're doing that on the eShop, you know?
That and Spyro and Crash aren't even owned by Sony, so instead the people cashing in on nostalgia are Activision.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
thing, Sony, they don't really develop a lot of stuff in house like Spider-Man, yeah, but really they just bought a developer.
Well, I mean they've done things like Parappa the Rapper, Siren, but then like you said, they just stop them after like 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, because they don't want to. Siren was really good. You said better than Silent Hill.
I do that. I will stand by that. Siren deserves an anniversary collection of some sort. But yeah, I don't understand. Sony should take actually this is one thing they should take a note from Nintendo on is the whole fostering nostalgia and
Yeah,
continuing their series beyond 3 games.
because Nintendo is all about nostalgia these days, and
See,
yeah,
Nintendo is the other extreme. They're all about nostalgia. Like
it's like they
occasionally they'll
got
do
nothing else.
Splatoon, but that's all they've
They
got,
literally
sadly.
have nothing else right now because all of their big games are re-releases of Mario games for this whole year.
Uh-huh.
Even Animal Crossing has Mario items, and
I mean, Sony had Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima.
that's true. Those were big
Your
releases.
whatever your opinions are of those 2 games, I know Ghost of Tsushima is more generally liked, but whatever your opinion though, they had new games.
They did. Well, how long has it been since the first Last of Us? It's been like a long time, right?
7 years.
Wow, it's
Yeah,
longer than I thought it had been.
and 6 years since the PS4 re-release.
Well, it's a
But yeah,
last chance.
but yeah, as far as I'm concerned, Last of Us Part Two is okay, though I do love the Abby sections as much as people hate on Abby. She is a beast in combat. You upgrade her melee tree and she just one shots everybody. It's amazing.
That does sound like a good time.
It is a good time with her. The Ellie parts were actually I thought considerably worse.
God, remember how Ellen Page was in a game at the same time as the first Last of Us? I think it was
Yeah,
called Two
Beyond Two
Souls.
Souls.
Yeah, Beyond Two
Yeah, and
Souls.
that game sucks. I
And
don't
it's
like
like
it.
poor Ellen Page because everyone's like, "Congratulations on being in that hit game," and she has to be like, "No, I was actually that's not me. That's somebody that looks and sounds like me. I'm in the other."
Well, true, but Beyond Two Souls did sell pretty okay from what I heard. But yeah, Last of Us was a much bigger success for Sony.
God, what is David Cage doing? Like, does he have like blackmail on people, or why does he keep making these?
I think actually I heard Ellen Page tried suing them because they actually modeled a fully nude body on her
God,
for
I
that
remember
game
that. I saw
without her
that in the
permission.
news.
Yeah, without her permission.
There's like a shower scene of her that got released.
Do you think Nintendo has a fully nude model for Mario?
I know
Like
they
an
don't have
Odyssey?
one. I know they don't have one for Link.
He doesn't
Do you
have
remember?
nipples, that's for sure,
Do you remember the controversy
anymore.
when they released the picture of Luigi playing tennis and you could like they said you could see the outline of his
Oh yes, that was a few months ago, right?
and somebody like
A
tried to
year ago, maybe.
calculate how long it was by
Okay,
what you
that
mentioned.
those are people with too much time on their hands because there's no reason to calculate how big Luigi is, like
I
ever.
mean, true. Plus we have no real frame of reference. We don't know how tall Luigi is. So we're
And
just
they're
making
yeah, they're
assumptions.
they're they're like cartoon versions of humanity. So yeah, there's no
It's just like
like.
if your head is the same size as your body.
Did you know that the Fall Guys characters are 6 feet?
Really?
Yep, they're 6 feet tall and they're like these giant jelly beans.
Hey, you know what's great? Now that you mentioned Fall Guys, you can tag this podcast with Fall Guys and you'll get a lot more people listening.
You know what? I am going to tag it Fall Guys just because we mentioned it offhand at the very end.
I want to see like some angry comments that are just like,
Where's Fall Guys?
I waited roughly 1.5 hours.
And then I'll just timestamp it as like this is when we talk about Fall Guys, and it's just me commenting on them being 6 feet tall, which is something most people know by now who like Fall Guys.
Or what we
And
should do
then
is like put the tag and be like, hey, fuck you if you like Fall Guys, and put that for the
oh no, that's going too far. Fall Guys is okay.
report. I've never
Fall
played the
Guys
game.
is
Is
all
it
right.
free? Can I play it for no
It
money?
if you have PlayStation Plus, you might still be able to get it for free. And if
Um,
you don't, it's $20 on PS4 and PC.
I mean that's something. How come it's not on Switch, huh?
I don't know. Probably because the online sucks.
That's true. Oh my god, what do you think Super Mario 35 is going to be like? I didn't even say that in the
I
summation.
thought
The
I thought
Battle
it was
Royale Mario.
just you play through the level and see who beats it first.
No, because every enemy you beat gets sent to the other level.
Oh, I see. So they're
It's like in
pulling out the
Tetris where you're
Tetris,
garbage
yeah,
box.
the battle royale.
And it even
Yeah.
has the same like selection feature where you choose who it gets sent to, and you can see everybody playing in miniature on the side of the
This
screen.
sounds
So,
like a Nightmare Super Mario Maker level.
oh, and I guess it's just the whole game because they're on more than one level in the video.
Yeah, I would hope it's the full game. I mean, it'd get boring just playing a few levels over and over.
I mean, yeah, I like the game, but you can get through the whole thing in like 25 minutes if you know what you're doing.
That sounds about right for battle royale.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fun time. I mean, the concept of a battle royale itself is fun, but then the concept of wandering around a huge desert waiting for somebody to hit you with a sniper rifle is not fun. So finally, they're moving away from that with like Fall Guys.
Oh yeah. Well, before we go, I'm just gonna give a shout out to Hunt Showdown because that is my favorite battle royale.
All right, way to go, Hunt Showdown. What
Woo!
what kind of
Hunt
game is that?
Showdown. It is basically like a horror FPS set in the 1880s. So you have really shitty weapons and you're hunting down demons in a team of up to three, and everyone else is hunting the same demons. So everybody's usually being attacked by zombies or other monsters, or they're trying to kill each other to get the bounty on the demon and
Sounds
escape.
fun.
Yeah,
See, the one
it's pretty
time
good.
I tried Fortnite, I got insulted by children because I don't have like a Switch ID. I just use my real name, so they were like, "Connor's such a dumbass," and I'm like, "Oh."
Man, kids are mean.
Also, why is it the only Switch game that has voice chat?
Fortnite?
Yeah,
Um, I don't know. I guess because you need voice chat for teams.
I don't
I'm
want to talk
assuming.
to those people.
Yeah, I don't want to. I want. I don't like playing with kids
Also, it just
for the
like
most
plays
part.
over the TV. It doesn't play in your headphones or anything, and it's like, Jesus.
Oh, yeah, that sucks.
Anyway, yeah, we should call it. So I'm gonna say we should sign out. Do we have a sign out phrase that we say?
Um, I don't think so. I mean, we can figure that out some other day. It's just episode 1, so
Yeah,
whatever.
okay. Let's do it.
So let's just say it's yeah, good talking about a sort of okay anniversary.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna buy the stuff because I'm kind of a Nintendo bitch, but uh, it's not that exciting. Like maybe if we just found out about it yesterday, I'd be psyched. But 5 months of rumors and Nintendo being really coy about it for no reason.
And
They're
then
like
all
the
these
J.J.
weird.
Abrams.
Oh yeah, they are.
They're
Well,
the
they
J.J.
are the J.J.
Abrams of
Abrams.
video game companies because they're like, oh, it's a secret. Like, is it just old Mario games? Oh, wouldn't you like to know?
Yeah, it's all about nostalgia. Bring back the old stuff and then just make it a little worse than it was before.
Nostalgia and keeping things secret for no reason. Those are two J.J. Abrams traits that Nintendo also shares.
And then once the secret's revealed, it wasn't even that exciting.
Yeah. It's like, what was
That's
happening in Cloverfield? There was a monster. Where'd it come from? We don't know.
who was Ray? Oh, in the second movie by a different director, it's revealed that she was nobody, but wait, she's actually blank blank blank.
Well, it's
Okay.
like, if I can just do a brief tangent before we sign off. Like, it was a surprise that Luke was actually Darth Vader's son, but like when you watch the first Star Wars movie, you don't end it like, gee, I wonder who Luke's father was. Like from your perspective, he was a guy that used to live on Tatooine who got killed by Darth Vader. There's no mystery. That's why it was a shocking twist. Like we didn't even know there was a secret to Luke's father. Whereas with Rey, it's like, oh, who are my parents? Oh, you're just gonna see him blurry in a flashback. Ooh, and it's just like it was a deliberately engineered mystery that didn't have like it's a big difference between, oh, what a surprise, Luke has a secret father, to, oh, who are my secret parents going to be? Oh, it's no one. Psych, it's this
Uh,
person. Like,
it probably would have worked better. Well, one had the Emperor not been involved at all, or at least he'd been involved since the end of the first movie,
I mean,
right?
good for Ian McDermott though, because like he
He's
he
always fun to
parlayed.
watch. He's fun to watch as just a pure evil douchebag who's
Like
having
you've
fun.
died in two different movies and still come back to play the same character. So good for you.
Yeah, that means the Emperor was in 6 out of 9 movies, right? As the
Yeah.
villain, the overall villain of the series.
Does he have every other Star Wars character beat? Because like Han and Luke and Leia were not in the prequels.
Well, let's see. He was in the prequels. He's in Return of the Jedi. That's 4. He's in 5 out of 9 movies.
Okay, and
And
Luke
he's referenced repeatedly in the ones he's not in.
is only
Right?
in, no, Luke's in 5, I guess, but can you really count Force Awakens? I guess.
Not really. He's just in there for like a few seconds at the end.
Harrison Ford is also 5. Leia technically is in 6, but like they reused footage. But I guess Leia is the only one that has the Emperor beat.
Yeah, I guess so. But okay, back to ending the podcast.
Right, ending the
Um,
podcast.
the Mario this is still a better anniversary event than the Star Wars movies were.
More
So,
than the last
uh,
Mario anniversary with that terrible All Stars.
yeah, congrats Nintendo. You did better than Disney did with Star Wars. So I guess that's something. I think
I
that's a
mean,
good way
true.
of summing this up. You did better than others.
Is it a Star Wars anniversary this year?
I don't think so.
77. Um,
At this point, I don't care about Star
it's a
Wars. I
43rd
like the video
anniversary.
games, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I like original trilogy. I like the movies. The newer ones have some okay things in them, but they're not great
I mean,
movies.
I had a generally okay time during Rise of Skywalker, but then when I walked out of the theater, I was like, wait a minute, a lot of that was pretty stupid.
Honestly, Star Wars can be its own podcast. Maybe that can be our next episode.
Are we not gonna talk
Because
about video games all the time?
we don't have to talk about video games all the time. We can talk
True.
about a variety of things.
We can.
Yeah, whatever we're interested in can make an episode. I don't care if it's just video games.
Alright.
We will
Well,
probably talk about video games anyway while talking about other things. Star
I
Wars
mean,
by itself has an entire line of video games we can
I
talk
know
about.
JonTron showed it to us with his Starcade series. I liked
Yeah.
Dark Forces, that was fun. Or not
Wasn't
this
JonTron involved in some shady shit though?
not really, he's just kind of said some stuff that was offensive, but
Some vile things that
he
we
wasn't,
shall
like,
not repeat.
involved with anything, he just said some things. Like, you
I
make
don't
it sound
know.
like he's part of a secret organization.
No, I just meant he was a racist.
Yeah, no, I didn't wanna come out and say that in case JonTron, like, materializes out of the woodwork and sues us.
Like you say JonTron 3 times in the mirror, he just pops
No,
out
what
with
we
his
do
neck
is we put
beard.
hashtag JonTron on the video, and we're
Hashtag neckbeard JonTron.
I can't even get because I haven't shaved in a while. I got a beard on my neck right now. I can't pick fights based
No,
on that.
I'm looking at a photo of JonTron. I'd say you have better facial hair than he does.
I think the
Like
pandemic has led to a
considerably
lot of new
so.
beards.
Well, see, JonTron didn't have that as a reasoning for why he has a neck beard. He just
That's
had
true.
one.
See, I got a shaving kit, like a full self haircut. I was gonna shave my head, and I haven't taken the plunge yet. Got it sitting right here. I'm getting ready to shave my head.
You think Nintendo, as the final comment, you think Nintendo will ever shave Mario's mustache as an option?
Oh gosh. I mean, when they made the movie, Luigi didn't have a mustache. So like there's precedent for one of the Mario brothers without a mustache. And baby Mario doesn't have a mustache. So we've
It's
seen
baby
Mario's
Mario
upper
though.
lip. What?
It's baby Mario though. I mean, I don't expect a mustache.
And then Imogene doesn't have a mustache in Doki Doki Panic, right? And then he became Mario. So can we theorize that that might be what Mario's face would look like?
I suppose.
I mean, in the last picture I sent you, you see the character of Imogene who became Mario standing there mustacheless holding his really offensive weapon above his head, like offensive in two terms weapon.
Well, okay, so okay, so I'm still staring at the image of the Doki Doki Panic blackface
You know,
spider thing, and now I'm like, should we keep Okie Dokie Panic as the name of the podcast?
I mean, Doki Doki Panic's a good game, and honestly, that version doesn't exist in any discoverable form anymore. So I think we're okay with Okie Doki Panic. But also, what might be a fun title is Delisted.
You want to call it the Delisted Podcast?
Yeah, the Delisted, and that will really confuse people.
Okay, you know what? Let's just call it Delisted Podcast. No
All right.
dealing with Doki Doki Panic's vague, somewhat disturbing imagery.
Well, that's not in the
Uh,
actual the actual Mario 2 game. It's only in the original Famicom Disk System one.
True, true. But yeah, let's just go with delisted. Yeah, I'm fine with delisted. All right. Well, we'll we'll sign off
All
then.
right,
All right.
signing off. Peace in the
Signing
Middle
off
East.
on delisted. All right. Well, bye y'all.
Bye.